Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast number 98. I'm Terry Miller, your host, joined here in studio with Johnny V in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we're back at it.
I feel like I have half the stuff we need. We packed two big boxes, handed one off to Miles from Paragon, who did a fantastic job. Thanks, Miles, for bringing our stuff back. And I left like a microphone stand in there and my network cable that I use to connect up. So I just feel like I'm half. So I gave you the microphone I was using last week, which is your normal one, and I'm without a stand. So I'm just gonna stick mic it here.
It looks good.
It does. I mean, I feel like I'm a real broadcaster now, Terry Miller.
It's a good look for you. I mean, we're only 98 podcasts in, so I can understand.
Maybe by 100 we'll get it.
I don't think so. So welcome, everyone. Of course, this is what is now our post-Alaskan podcast. So there's going to be a lot of discussion. I'd like to give everyone a little update as to my trip. I literally just touched down from Alaska a couple of hours ago. I don't know if it was a full 3 or 5 hours ago, something like that. So I'll talk quite a bit about King of the Hill. We may or may not be able to get our champion from that event to join us on the show. I know he's out to dinner at a very delicious place called Moose's Tooth, which is...
That sounds not delicious.
Believe it or not, it is easily some of the best pizza I've had anywhere in the country. At Moose's Tooth. And
that's funny because if you go to the Wisconsin Dells, there's the
Moose's Jaw,
which is really good pizza as well.
Clever naming conventions we have around here. We will talk, like I said, quite a bit about that. And we'll get to the Disc Golf Pro Tour stop number 2, which is coming right here to Wisconsin. Of course, to the Manitowoc area, where we'll be playing out at Silver Creek Park on the east side of Manitowoc, right on Lake Michigan, as well as out at the private course known as Rolling Ridge. I believe last time I had looked, or someone told me, it was the 3rd highest rated private course in the country. So
I believe that.
All of the best, world's best players here to compete this weekend should be pretty exciting. And I'd be more excited if I wasn't so exhausted. So we're looking forward to a good weekend.
Hashtag disc golfer problems. I just got back from Alaska on a gorgeous trip, and I've got all this video to edit that who knows when that's going to done.
Yeah, so we've got plenty of that. I know we're going to have some of the regulars tonight. Dynamite Vici will be joining us. We'll see how big his hair has gotten since last time we checked in with him.
Oh, we saw him just 2 weeks ago. Not even 2 weeks ago.
I know, but his hair, you know.
Is he like a chia pet? I mean, does it just grow?
Chia.
Chia.
And I believe we're going to have Uli on for a little Uli's Picks action.
We are. I've confirmed it with him.
Yeah, we talk a lot with him now. Didn't you confirm last weekend as well?
I did.
Last Tuesday? How'd that work out for you?
It worked out almost well in the fact that I confirmed. I said, yeah, let's get it on. Let's do this thing. And then, I kind of drew out the broadcast as long as I could. Finally hit the stream to end, and then I get a little ding. He's like, "How are we doing? What now?" And I'm like, I literally had ended the stream 35 seconds prior to that. And I thought, well, I could just come right back. I'm like,
yeah, but we kind of signed off.
Yeah,
you had kind of signed off. So we're also back here after last Tuesday's edition, which was a little bit different than normal. I was packing for Alaska, so I believe I was here for the early part of the show. We had a quick rundown to talk a little bit about Vibram, and then you went solo after that. Isn't that how it went down?
I don't remember. Yeah, I think I did some solo stuff for just a little bit.
Our ratings skyrocketed because it was just you. Is that what I heard?
I'm not going to say they didn't. I mean, I could literally look at the analytics, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, we are glad everyone's tuned in. We'll have to kind of see how things go throughout the night. Dynamite, Uli. I spoke with Zoe Andike, a little earlier. We may or may not catch up with a few minutes from her. And like I said, we may or may not have a quick visit from someone who's still out in Alaska. So we'll see how the rest of the night goes here. I think we can move right into the man with the curly hair. Can we move right into Mr. Dynamite?
Boom goes the dynamite.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. How you doing tonight?
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
You get to say hi to us. For those of you that can't hear because the Dynamite thing was playing, Ashley seemed like she was just a tad upset that she didn't get to chat with her man friend before he came online. Were you just at the women's league? Is that?
It was, yes.
And how did that go for you?
Pretty good.
Smashed
I shot
it.
a lot better than this weekend.
Good. Where did you play this weekend?
Highland and Delaware. Illinois State Championship.
Okay.
And are you the champ?
No.
Oh, all right. Let's talk to Dana then.
Let's talk to a champion in his own right.
How's my hair look, boys?
Oh, gorgeous. I know how soft it is. And I'll admit, I wish I could rub my hands through it right now because it's so soft.
That's true, and maybe tomorrow if
Maybe.
you play your cards right.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe I play my cards right. I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
Few IPAs and we'll be talking a different language, I think. There you go. And I will follow up one brief second. I mentioned Moose's Tooth, some of the best pizza ever. That was unanimous amongst the group we went with. Mike Schwieger, who's quite the beer consumer, said he had arguably one of the best IPAs he's ever had in his life. And of course, for the life of me, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but he had said it was one of the single best IPAs he's ever had anywhere in the country as well. Right there.
This is Manitowoc because I like pizza and I do like
No.
to have a beer.
No.
This is
no,
not
no.
Manitowoc. This is Alaska,
Little
where
further
Terry
away.
just was.
Anchorage, Alaska. Sorry.
Still on this Alaska stuff we have to hear about? No, I'm just kidding. I'm really jealous of your Alaska trip and enjoyed the little bit of coverage that we did see
Thus far.
Looking forward to seeing the courses and seeing some more stuff come out whenever you find some time. Terry, when are you going to find time for this?
I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot of golf this weekend. They played 4.5 rounds, very long rounds, mind you, but 4.5 rounds because there was a final 9 on an 8,800 foot course, something like that, a championship caliber course up and down this ski hill. It was exhausting. And then they had things going on every night, Ring of Fires, throwing off the ski jump. I don't know if anyone saw that Instagram that I put out there, but throwing off of a ski jump. And just all sorts of games and other fun things to do, and meals provided and available, and it was I'll get into that a little bit later, but it was definitely an amazing trip.
Cool.
And so, how are you doing? What happened this weekend? Were you yourself competing?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Well, before I get to that, we Ashley, Edith, and I, upon leaving the Vibram Open, we headed north up to Smuggler's Notch, which is in Vermont. It's Jeffersonville, Vermont, but it is the site of the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale. And we spent a couple days up there, a little family vacation, and the place is awesome. They had great. We took advantage of their child care for a day. They have award-winning child care. So Edith got to go play with some other kids while mom and dad went and played around at disc golf. And
How do you have
it's fun.
award-winning childcare? Like,
I don't know,
they've
but
never lost a kid?
They've got all kinds of cool stuff and things and good food. They feed them, change their diapers. Edith took a couple BMs there per the
Wow.
notes. They left us good notes. But anyways, place was awesome. Got to hang out with Jeff Spring. Showed us around one of the courses. It's looking good. And walked around the other course, which is not quite set up yet, but got a little peek of that. And I'm hyped up for the finale. I know we're just getting into the second event this weekend in Manitowoc, but I'm excited for September in Smuggler's Notch again. But anyways, good time. Came home, played the Illinois State Disc Golf Championships, and this is a tournament that I really want. And I've gotten second place across a couple different, in advanced and open maybe a couple times. And this year, definitely didn't get second. I got seventh. Really struggled with the putter first round, and then kind of got over it and played some really good disc golf, but just at the same time missing a lot of birdie putts. Winning, though, probably the hottest disc golfer in Illinois, Taylor Samala. He's won a bunch of tournaments. He's won a bunch of tournaments this year, from Michigan to Illinois. Went out to Vibram, and I think he was in the top 20 after 3 rounds and ended up finishing somewhere around 35th. But anyways, pretty good shooting. He came home, won in a playoff over Indiana's Tony Ganger. Tony's won the Illinois State Championships before. But big shout out to Taylor. He's playing really good. Illinois has got a lot of golfers stepping their game up. Taylor being one of them. Brian Earhart, who has probably the purest forehand in the game. If you guys see him throw, I don't know if you've seen him throw lately, but his forehand puts 99% of other forehands to shame. He's a left-handed thrower. But Brian, he ended up getting 5th place. He's been working his way up the ranks this year. I'd expect to see him keep climbing towards that 1,000 mark. And then, of course, we've got Isaac McDonald and Gavin Rathbun, who was on. Those guys will be here in Madison in a couple weeks, but Illinois disc golf's in a good spot. Speaking of IMAC, I think he went to the red, white, and boom and held it down against some pretty good competition, finishing in 3rd place behind Philo and Nico. Nico won that in a playoff, but that was the red, white, and boom over in Ohio.
I was just going to follow that up real briefly. When you speak of the amateurs, these top-rated amateurs that you have, and then Isaac McDonald and a Gavin, are we seeing those guys play in the professional ranks and then just declining cash? Is that what they've been doing, or they've found
Yes.
themselves in dominating advanced? They're playing open right now. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah,
they're playing open. You'll also see them at a couple of the bigger, like A-tier amateur events playing amateur, but for the most part, we're seeing them play in the open division. And IMAC's been playing open for at least a year or two now, for the most part. And I don't know what his plans are for moving up. I know he really wants the world title. I have a hard time believing that he's not going to win it this year. But Gavin beat him in Michigan at AmNats a few weeks ago.
anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yep, got to go out and play and throw. And I know there's going to be hundreds of other disc golfers that are there trying to win and giving it their best shot. So, but it's going to be fun to watch to see if Isaac can pull it off. Because last year he got 2nd at Worlds, 2nd at AmNats. This year 2nd at AmNats. I don't want to see him get another 2nd. I want to see him take it down.
And I don't know. We've always talked about when you should move up and this and that, whether you win or not, and what the rules are for kids his age in sports and things of that nature. But he just turned down $505. So I imagine he's probably turned down double or triple that this year with what he's played overall. That's tough.
Also, quick note for our Boom, who have been sponsors of the show. Update the website and take out that $505, because right now it implies that he had accepted it, and of course we know that he's withholding. And for those of you who are trying to wrap your head around the significance of that, anytime a player accepts cash, they actually then become a professional and no longer eligible to play in amateur major events. And so if you look at the unofficial results on the PDGA website, that's where Johnny came up with that $505 number. Usually there's a blank there, which would indicate that he therefore declined the money. Kind of like we saw Ryan Kanto do this weekend in Zobel, but go on.
Correct.
Yeah, and Terry, I know me and you as tournament directors both love when we have amateurs playing up and cashing.
Except for when I'm not vending, but yeah.
That means that they are getting all that money in merchandise. So I would expect Isaac to come home with a stack of discs and sell them locally and fund his Worlds trip and other disc golf adventures through that. So
it's amateur spirit.
It's not like when I was in 2007 when I was an amateur and waiting to play Am Worlds. I played open a few times and turned down cash. And when you turn down cash, you turned it down. It didn't.
Yep.
You didn't get any merchandise. You didn't get any.
You got applause from the crowd and a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a happy.
It was kind of nice, so I didn't have to stick around for payouts or anything because I wasn't getting anything.
Now, and just to take that yet a step further, the original rule used to be what it is today, which was if a competitor chose to play in a professional division but turned down the cash, he or she then would get that amount in lieu of the cash. They would get merchandise, and then at one point the PDGA changed up the rule, and must have been in your time frame, Dana, where they said, no, if you decline it, you decline it outright. You're not, if the TD wants to do something, that's on their discretion. And then they actually changed the rule back to the original wording, which stated, yes, if you turn down $500 in cash, as Isaac did, 505, he is then entitled to $505 in other amateur winnings, or I'm sorry, in other merchandise winnings. So just for what that's worth, I'm gonna maybe dating myself a little bit here, but that's kind of the variation of that rule that we've seen, at least in my 25-year playing lifetime.
Yeah. I just
So Dana,
think of these.
You did it at the wrong time.
Yeah, I just think of these AMs that let's say Isaac turns down $505, gets $505 worth of merch, possibly turns around, sells it, gets 80% on the dollar. That's $400 in cash. That's not bad for a 15-year-old kid, 16 now.
He's not 16 yet.
No.
He's going to be a sophomore in high school, so
Okay.
he'll probably be turning 16 this next year.
Yeah, you could make some pretty sweet tax-free money doing that.
I'm sure his dad's claiming all that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so moving on.
Yeah, there were some other events this weekend, believe it or not, just not Alaska and Illinois State Championships. The Finnish National Championships over in Turku, Finland, presented by Frisbee Golfing, went down. It was a 4-round event, and when it was all said and done, Leo Peronen had a 1-throw victory over both Yanni Hersmaki and Juho Parvarian. And congratulations to Leo on the men's side. And then on the women's side, Evelina Salonen also got herself a championship. And that's her second win of the year. I believe her first win came over Kat. So this is the young lady that took Kat out earlier this year in Europe. So she's still playing some good golf, and she got herself a Finnish national title. So pretty cool.
Too bad she's not coming over for Pro Worlds. It'd be nice to see a little more foreign influence and see how she can compete against, Paige and Kat, Val and Björkis and all those girls.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, this weekend, we're not going to see all of our top female competitors at the Silver Cup. Katrina is over in Europe already. Not quite sure what she's got going on there. Probably doing some clinics and then playing in the upcoming major. Paige Pierce is taking the weekend off. She's down in Austin, Texas. So
you know that for a fact? I mean, I'm just saying Paige is on the registration.
I'm looking at the registration list right now. I would say I'm pretty certain that she's not coming, but
okay.
I could be wrong. So if she's not there, that leaves Val, Sarah Holcomb, and Des as the top 3 rated women at the event. And,
and then Holly Finley, who lost in a playoff last year to Björkis. Yeah.
So there's it kind of opens it up a little bit more if Paige is in fact not going to be there, and Kat is definitely not going to be there. So
well, we definitely want to find out. Terry's texting right now because there are implications as far as fantasy disc golf for people and maybe side bets and things of that stuff. So
sure. Yeah, I'm almost certain. So we'll let Terry send a message to Paige, see if he can get some good intel. But
and let me for that point real quickly on Paige. Her and I were exchanging some messages because I know she's going to be here in Wisconsin for AM Worlds. Her and Madison, in fact, next Tuesday night. Those are 2 of our guests that we have locked in for our Tuesday night live podcast that we're going to be doing right at the AM Worlds.
That's next Tuesday?
That's next Tuesday. That we're going to be doing at the AM Worlds host hotel. So it's going to be a live audience. I think they have seating up to 400 people. We want as many people to come join us as possible right at the AM Worlds Hotel. So we're going to have Paige and Madison in, and when discussing lodging, she was talking about. I'm sorry, Paige was talking about needing lodging in the Madison area from Monday through Sunday, meaning the day after Silver Cup. So, and I've reached back out to her, so we'll see. I think I recall talking to her somewhere in the last few weekends, and I think you sound right, Dana, that she was going to maybe take the weekend off and go home and relax for a little bit before coming back up for AM Worlds, although I think we're going to see Madison here. So I think you're on the right track, and I think you're correct with that, Dana, but I'll get a confirmation hopefully sometime soon. I sent her a message to see if she can clarify.
Yeah, Madison is currently driving Paige's vehicle around. She was here yesterday. Her and Paul Oman stopped by, hung out with the Vichy family on the 4th of July. We had a nice time, but they are now up in Manitowoc enjoying those great courses up there. But
how many hot dogs did Paul Oman put down in the homemade contest you guys had yesterday? Did he do a dozen again?
We were grilling steaks, dude. Disc golf rich.
Oh, okay. Oman's like a hot dog kind of guy. I just figured he shoved 10 to 12 to 22 in or something. No?
I don't see Oman having, hung out with them a little bit last week. I don't see him even touching a hot dog.
Yeah. I think 22 is his record.
I mean, maybe the all-natural hot dogs.
22 hot dogs.
If that's the case,
Definitely
23.
would be an all-natural hot dog kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least 20.
Definitely not those swag hot dogs. But there was also another event, Terry, you mentioned earlier about maybe talking to the winner, Delaware. Do you want us to get into that? Talk about that event?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about Delaware.
Hold on.
Sure.
I got tagged. Hold on. I'm tagging somebody in.
Oh, snap.
Hey.
AJ Risley.
Oh, it's the disc golf boy.
How are we doing?
Yeah, what's up?
Disc golf boy?
Now, is this just so your dad can see that you're alive and well?
Yeah, I'm alive. I know I haven't responded to like his 20 text messages today, but I'm here. I'm here. Do you need like a newspaper from today or something? Do they still have those?
No, last week when Terry was in his office, it really kind of looked like you were in a dungeon of some sort. So people were asking, blink 3 times if you're okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not held here in the Vichy compound against my will. Don't worry.
No, not at all.
So you yourself, we can't get a better field reporter than AJ Risley from Delaware. Tell us what you got, buddy.
Well, first off, I'm from California. But yeah, no, I was there at the tournament at the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge for the 3rd year in a row, and yeah, it was another great event at one of the one of the best, most I think one of the most underrated courses, and I don't really want to say facilities, but one of the most underrated courses in the country. I don't know if it's just people don't know about it, but Iron Hill Disc Golf Course in Newark, Delaware. If you don't know about it, you should check it out. It's 10,000 feet through the woods, 18 holes, par 72, and yeah, it's the real deal.
How did you shoot?
I played all right. I shot 2 down the first round, 3 down the second round, and then 4 down the third round.
And where did that
So
place
in a few years, I should have the course record if I just keep on that pace.
In like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, and I think I finished the weekend like 6 down, finished 12th. It was all right. I was pretty happy with it because that course is very demanding. Like I said, it's basically tight woods the whole way, and the average hole distance is like 550 feet. So really, from the moment you get on the first tee till you drop in that last putt on hole 18, you're always thinking about what your next shot is going to be. There's never really a moment where you can just kind of relax and say, okay, well, I can just toss this up next to the basket. Every tee shot is unique. It's very, the shots are very tight, and you have to be very precise with your lines, and not only your lines, but your landing spots. And then if you're off a little bit, which is very easy to do out there, the second shots and the third shots, and even the fourth shots on a few of the par 5s they have in the woods are just as crucial. So with that being said, there were some guys who played really well in the woods. guess I'll start off. Ricky Wysocki played really well in the woods. He started off the tournament with an 8 down, and then the next round he followed that up with a 9 down, which out there is pretty hot. Don't let the ratings fool you. The ratings there, for some reason, are very low. I'll tell you firsthand, if you shoot par or a few strokes below par, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. If you're, the average pro.
Now, Ricky, obviously Ricky's a fantastic player. Would you say he's known for being a wooded player, a technical player?
I don't know if he's really known for doing that, but he's definitely capable of
course.
That.
Everyone thinks of like Michael Joe and a Brinster, people who come from that wooded background.
Brinster was actually signed up for the tournament, but then he backed out at some point last week. But yeah, I was talking to a few people about Michael Johansson, and they were saying that, man, he would come up there and just find his way through the trees and make all the putts, but for some reason he wasn't there. I don't know what the deal was.
Probably on his way towards Silver Cup. Maybe wanted to get a little head start.
Yeah, probably. I can't blame him for that, because Delaware to Manitowoc was about like 16 or 18 hours. So it's a little bit of a trek.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ricky played pretty solid. Another guy who played, I don't know if I would call it solid, but he definitely played well, was Paul Ulibarri. He started off the tournament a little shaky. He shot a 71, only 1 down. And I played with him, and he was playing aggressive, very aggressive. And I think he pretty much did the same thing going into the second round, same game plan. And I didn't get to play with him that round, unfortunately, but he came out and set the new course record with a 13 down.
Yeah, he shot a 10. I mean, as you said, these ratings are low. It's a 1061.
Yeah.
But he bested the competition by 4 strokes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty crazy to, we were hearing stuff on the course, like, either checking Facebook or just people talking, word of mouth getting around to the other holes. And they were saying like, oh, Yuli's, he's 6 down through 8. Oh, he just eagled 8 and 9. He's 10 down through 12. Oh my gosh. It was crazy. It was definitely a good round. And I think he had a bogey also, but he came in with a 13 down, 59, which beat the course record by 1. And I don't know if it's just something that's wrong with the ratings there, or if it's just a testament to Iron Hill, the course, but it was only rated like you said, I think 1061.
Yeah.
Which when you look at course record setting rounds, usually they're closer to 1100.
Especially on a really difficult course.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it was anybody that's played that tournament and played that course in a tournament round will tell you that they don't usually think that getting in the 50s is possible.
Did the women play the same tees as the men?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say, because sometimes if you have different course layouts, things can happen with the TD report that'll get updated later. Right. I mean, so who knows? That could change, but...
I was talking to the TD a little bit, and he was saying that it was something about like the spread.
Okay.
And each stroke is only worth like 5.8 ratings points.
Okay.
Where usually it'll be worth like about 10, but on a harder course with more strokes and more, score separation, I guess. That number shrinks, and out there it just shrinks so much that to shoot 1100, you'd have to shoot like a 55, or no, you'd have to shoot like a 53.
Yeah,
which is crazy because that's like, I don't know, I can't even do the math right now. It's 19 under par, but which with a few par 5s, it's definitely possible, but
not there, but not imaginable.
Yeah, but no, yeah, Paul definitely earned his Sunday red, white, and blue pants. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures. They were definitely way more impressive in person. You look good.
I've seen enough of them.
Yeah, but with pants on.
Yeah, I've seen enough.
Did you see
Of those
the
pants.
American flag pants?
Oh, I saw them. They also went for a round of traditional ball golf at some point, and I saw Wysocki and Yuli and a couple others, uh, Daniel Mears, and I forget the fourth. I think there was 4 of them.
Right.
And Drew Gibson. Yeah, I've seen enough of those pants. That's all I'm gonna say.
They were, yeah. We definitely noticed him out on the course on Sunday. Speaking of course records, for the women's champion Sarah Hokum, she set the women's course record on Sunday with a 71, which was also very impressive.
And also 40 points above her rating.
Yeah. Which still nothing to shake a stick at. Is that the saying?
Something like that.
Yeah. But no, I got to play a few practice holes with her on Thursday, and she was lacing the sidearms, hyzer flips, you name it. She looked like she was definitely capable of shooting under par out there.
Well, that's good.
That was pretty cool.
So who did we see come out on top?
Oh, well, let's see. In the Masters division, you had the Delaware Deucer, Mike Moser, for those of you who don't know.
It's not a nickname.
He came out and shot 16 under par for the 3 rounds. He started off the tournament very solid with an 8 down 64. And he and Don Smith were the only 2 in the Masters division to shoot under par for the tournament. And Don would have finished, I believe, in 12th place in Open. And Mike would have finished tied for 5th. Not bad. But I think even more exciting was in the Open division. I think that's what you wanted to hear about. Bradley Williams. Sound familiar?
I think we just heard about that guy just like a week ago.
Yeah. And going back to Paul's 59 on Saturday, Bradley came out and also shot a 59 on Sunday. He snuck his way onto the lead card coming into the round, and he was 6 off the lead going into the round. And I think he was after 16 holes, he was 14 down, and he had caught Ricky.
Yeah, because I mean, looking at what presumably was the lead card between Bell, Yuli, Wysocki, and Bradley, I'm guessing,
Right.
He bested all of those guys by 6 and 7 strokes.
Yeah, and I mean that was another case where, other competitors were looking at their phones and seeing it, or hearing about it from, people walking by trying to catch the lead card. 14 down, through 16 holes, it was crazy. But then Iron Hill did sneak up behind him, and on hole 18 he took a 5, a bogey, and he tied the course record set the day before. But that was still good enough to tie for the lead, and so he and Ricky went into a playoff. They both hole 1 par 4. They both threw good drives. Bradley was out. He threw his drive right next to the basket. Ricky came up like 30, 35 short. No problem. Center chains all day. Bradley goes first on the second hole, parks it. And there's actually a video from last year if the true fans want to go and look that one up just to get some more perspective. But it's not an easy hole to park. Through the woods, hyzer flip, about 100 trees in the way. Bradley parks it. Ricky steps up, hits one of the trees halfway down the fairway, pitches up next to the basket. Bradley from 25, dead center, just like he'd been doing all day, takes home the win.
Nice. So
it was pretty exciting.
2 weekends, 2 playoffs, 2 victories.
Yep, over some pretty good competition on some pretty good courses. So it's not like, if someone wants to say fluke, I don't think they have much of an argument.
No, I don't think so. And I think that only bodes well for him going into Silver Cup.
Yeah.
Because, have you played the Manitowoc courses at all?
Yeah, I played there back in 2013.
Okay. Did they use Rolling Ridge that year?
Yep.
Okay, so you're familiar with the courses. You know, being a very, very, very technical course, Rolling Ridge is. It's looking like Bradley is setting himself up to be a solid pick for anyone playing any sort of fantasy or just, you know, throwing side bets with your buddies.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys covered him last week throwing beautiful drives down the fairway. I got to see, I mean, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it this past weekend, but what I did see on the 2 playoff holes, it doesn't look like he's definitely very confident off the tee.
Yeah, he's very
showing.
He's very, which is what you know, you not used to say about Bradley, but he's very cool, calm, and collected on the course right now. He's just in a zone and ready to go.
Yeah.
Was there anyone out there filming this sweet action this weekend that you know? Any camera crews of any kind?
This weekend? Will there be any cameras out there?
No. Were there any cameras at Delaware that people were?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I believe there was some footage.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was Disc Golf Monthly, and then also I want to say it's Pin High.
Okay.
Chain High Disc Golf.
All right, so people can look for that if they really want to find it. You can probably go out to Facebook and whether or not they've got the rounds uploaded or not, but people can go out and seek out that footage to get a really good idea of what Bradley is doing. And there will be plenty of footage of Silver Cup. So we'll be able to, you know, maybe see Bradley continue his streak. Maybe not. I don't know.
That'd be cool. It'd definitely be exciting for the sport and for him, I would imagine.
Would it be exciting for you?
Yeah, I guess.
That's a real vote of confidence. You can say no. You can say that you'd be excited if you were on the lead card.
I mean, yeah.
That would be more exciting.
I think I would be a little excited.
Do you think Bradley would smile if he won?
No.
I swear I didn't see a smile
he didn't
when he won Maple Hill.
When he won Maple Hill, there was not. I'll say this: he did smile when we were up in the Sap House. He gave a like I said, a wonderful little speech to everybody, all the volunteers and whatnot, and he cracked a little smile there, which was good. But you're right, for that interview he did with Terry, I think he was just maybe a little overcome and didn't crack a smile at all. So we'll see.
He seemed pretty, I don't know what to call it, pensive maybe? A little pensive look in his eye when he gave his speech in Delaware.
Yeah.
Like something, I don't know, maybe there's just something else on his mind.
I don't know. Maybe his new sponsor.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was this past week in Delaware. He's officially now sponsored by Innova. He was sponsored by Innova, I believe, years ago.
Right.
Left. Was sponsored by Prodigy, I think, the past 2 years. I think
last year was Prodigy.
Last year was Prodigy.
Open bag for a while. Gateway. He was under the Gateway.
Okay.
Umbrella, throwing the open bag for a while. I don't know if he ever was officially with Innova. He did throw a lot of Innova and Millennium. There may have been a Millennium connection in there. At some
he was with
point.
Heiserbomb.
Is that a Texas thing?
Millennium, Texas, Innova.
Yeah, Oklahoma, and all that stuff. And then, he was sponsored by Heiserbomb. And so I know they've got a good relationship with Innova. So it's been, now he's officially on board with, one of the majors, so to speak. So
yeah,
it'll
well
be
deserved.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No chipmunks involved this time, though.
No.
All skill. I don't think there were chipmunks out in Delaware.
All right, you two yahoos.
He just wanted me to say that. That's why he gave me the fist bump.
AJ, do you got anything else for us as we look forward into the Silver Cup weekend? When can we expect you joining us?
I'll be driving up there with Dana tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, if anybody wants to come out and give me a high five
or watch you throw,
sure.
Are you actively seeking out caddies?
No, not actively. I'm not asking yet. If someone wants to. Sorry.
Sorry. Maybe Dana can caddy for you.
Dana can caddy for me.
All right, let's get down to business. What's up, dudes?
All right. Not much. What's up with you, Dana?
Nada. Just excited, like you guys are, for for this upcoming weekend with the Pro Tour. What can we expect from your end? Are we going to see some more multi-camera coverage, or not camera, but multi-group coverage?
We
What's
hope to.
it looking like? Are we live at every course? How's cell signals out there?
Well, I was actually out at Silver Creek just on Friday on my way up north. We passed it, so I took a little jaunt over there and did a bunch of tests. There's a small, very small pocket dead zone where Tournament Central usually is, which is basically 2 holes, and they're both 180-foot holes, if that even. So other than that, I didn't get a chance to test. I went right next to the lake, had really good signal, went down by the lighthouse, had really good signal, up by 1 or 2 of the newer holes and had really good signal. So I'm expecting pretty quality coverage from Silver Creek. We have not tested the Rolling Ridge. I know we were there last year and the year before, and I did some speed tests out on the course, and I recall there being decent coverage out there. So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure. I mean, what do you think? Having played these courses, what do you think the response is going to be from the pros as far as the courses go?
Well, I've only played, I think it's 28 holes at Silver Creek. I have not seen the additional 8 holes that have been added. It's a beautiful park, mostly wooded. You did mention some very short holes. There are some short wooded holes. So it's going to be a little different than the tour players are used to seeing at some of the majors and NTs. But then that's at Silver Creek. Then we'll go over to Rolling Ridge, where it is going to be a real test. It's a very tough wooded course. There's only a couple open holes where you can grip and rip a wide open shot. I think it's maybe like 3 shots you're really throwing out in the open.
Yeah,
and the rest is going to be a test in the woods. And as you guys were talking about Bradley coming out of, and these other players coming from Delaware, I think that they're definitely going to have a leg up coming into this weekend, because we're mostly going to be in the woods, hitting lines, hyzer flip shots. Some of these hyzer flip players are going to have an advantage. But it's the putters are going to have to be on, because you're going to, with a lot of the shorter holes, you're going to be putting for birdie a lot more. So you're obviously going to be wanting to convert on those. So if you're not converting, I could see that, some frustrations adding up, because there's going to be so many birdie ops, maybe every hole, maybe Silver Creek every hole.
For Silver Creek, definitely, because there's not a hole out there that can't be two'd. Even the long uphill can be gotten. It's been gotten. And other than that, I don't believe there's a hole out there that can't be two'd, especially with these big arms. Rolling Ridge is a little different. I think Rolling Ridge is more of you need to really have your approach game on, because a lot of times you're not going to get to the pin. So it's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to watch these pros go through that course.
Yeah, it's been a really big event here in the Midwest for the last few years, and now being a part of the Pro Tour, it's hard to believe it's gotten even bigger. We're seeing most of the top players in the game here, although a number of them have opted to head over to Europe a little early for the major event. I don't think we're going to see Colleen, Schustrick, Macbeth is taking the weekend off. You guys know, is the other half, the Sexy Beast, going to be there? Nate Sexton, is he coming to Wisconsin?
That's a good question. I was actually texting also with Nate and Paul today, because they're talking about when they're going to be into town and what their obligations are. And I don't believe that Nate will be there either. I think Nate and Paul will be at AmWorlds in Madison. And then I know they're going to be sticking around until sometime Monday. I believe it's Monday. I'm going to look at my calendar here. Until sometime Sunday or Monday, and then they're taking off to go overseas. And we set up some lodging for them, for their RV for the 2 weeks while they're gone. So I'm almost certain you're not going to see Paul or Nate competing here at the Silver Cup event.
No,
instead,
I knew Macbeth was off. I didn't know if Sexton was still gonna try to make it over. Last I saw, they're out in Maine doing some promotional stuff with the McEast challenges and all that, and that's I'm sure they're having a heck of a time because Maine it's a vacation land. That's the slogan of the state. It's beautiful out there. A lot of nice courses, private courses, and of course cheap lobster on every corner. But
Well,
it's kind of a bummer that they are not going to be here because it will be fun to see them tackle Rolling Ridge and to see what they can do on it. But we do have a heck of a lot of other great players. Bradley, it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep his good play rolling and keep his even keel demeanor going. Ricky, he's got a couple. He's played a couple events. He hasn't won a couple events in the last couple weeks. It's been a while since we could say that. So you got to know that he's itching to get back in the winner's circle, and I wouldn't mind winning.
yeah, I think you should. Someone who's not going to be winning, and this is confirmed, called a Smashbox TV Tuesday night exclusive, but I have gotten confirmation that Paige Pierce will not be competing this weekend. So although I think we see her name on the registration list, for all of those that are listening and playing some form of fantasy disc golf, you may have a leg up on everyone that Paige Pierce is not competing unless she changes her mind in some crazy fashion. She has told me that she will not be there. So
Okay.
that agrees with what you were saying earlier.
All right, my intel is good.
Yeah, as always. Yeah,
There's no one better than you, Dana.
no one.
Keep it coming, boys.
No one.
Keep it coming.
And that hair, I love it.
Wow, this is such a nice change of pace from the normal
Well,
parole officer. This, that.
The longer we don't actually get to hang out with you, the meaner we get. And now we just seen you, and Terry's going to see you again, so we're going to be really nice to you, and then we're not going to see you for a while. So expect the parole jokes to come back.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and recap a few quick things here for the Zobel Open. I'd like to thank Bob Goike as well as Mike Cousins from Sandy Point Resort. Mike ended up being the vendor at the event. Bob Goike ultimately took over the tournament director duties. It was a sold-out event at 90 people. Zobel is one of the most favored courses in the state. Anyone that has ever played Zobel will tell you it's one of the best courses in Wisconsin. We saw Matt Dollar come into town, and the touring pro did what he should, and he ultimately bested everybody. He won by 2 strokes over CJ King, shot what is considered by the course par a 12 under on the weekend, averaging somewhere around 1025-ish, 1030-ish golf. So Matt Dollar's your champion over at Zobel. On the women's side, Barrett White was your competitor who won by 13 strokes. Barrett, for those you don't know, is eligible to play in Masters and continually plays Open Women, rated 909, and is always a threat in any Open Women's field. Chad Inman won Masters, Pete Leslie in Advanced, and we go on and on from there. So congrats to all the winners. Thank you again to Bob Goike. The only reason that it went down the way it did this year is I had originally put in the dates to host the Zobel Open for the 4th or 5th year in a row, and I ultimately went with this specific weekend. And when I had the opportunity to be brought to Alaska and to do what I did with King of the Hill, Bob was gracious enough to step in and man up and be the TD for the weekend. And he did a really, really great job from everything that I've heard and everyone has said. So thank you to Bob. Thank you to, again, Mike and Michelle Cousins over at Sandy Point Resort for helping out as well. So that's the Zobel Open here in Wisconsin, which is also a Wisconsin tour event, just like we'll see for the Silver Cup this weekend. So good stuff. Dana, you've never played Zobel, have you?
I have not.
You'd love it. It's a great course.
Yeah, you really should.
Hopefully one of these days.
One of these days, Dana, one of these
Yeah.
days.
Oh, yeah, I also, before you guys let me go, I don't know what kind of schedule we are on.
I told Yuli 10 minutes, so we got five or so minutes before we're going to boot you.
Oh, he can wait anyways, even if I go long. Yeah, I've been working, as everyone knows, I'm helping out with the Ledgestone Insurance Open event this year. And I want to get word out there that there are spots left in many divisions. This is not 2015 where we saw the event immediately sell out across nearly every division. This year, we opened it up to more players, moved things around. a lot of divisions still have spaces left. So if you're a player and you're interested in coming to a pretty awesome event, it's going to have tons of added cash. The AM player pack, I think, has 17 items. It's going to be a blowout. All kinds of things going on all week. lisopen.com. That's Ledgestone Insurance Open. And I've actually been working with Nate Heinold. We're doing a little something different this year. Terry, I believe you were the one that started this trend where kind of do a battle event before tournament. I believe that's where you worked on doing some live a few times, working out the kinks. But this time around, we're going to do a different kind of showcase. We're going to have a women's showcase the Wednesday before the event at Northwoods Park in Morton. And I've got confirmation from the top 4 women in the world that they will compete in a 9-hole skins match. So there's going to be a lot going on that day out at Northwood. We're going to have a pro clinic, and I believe there's also some sort of player party that night, but also going to have this women's showcase. So if you are a female disc golfer or a fan of the sport and want to grow the women's side, come out. Make sure you plan to come Wednesday at Northwoods Park in Morton, Illinois, before the Ledgestone Insurance event. And Terry, maybe you'll be out there with the camera.
I would love to be.
All right. Well,
Sounds like a good time.
I'm taking offers, so we'll talk.
Bring your
privately.
camcorder.
Yeah, I'll bring my camcorder.
Yeah,
and I'll film that.
For anyone that's not familiar, Terry's looking for a camera guy this weekend. Have you picked anybody up?
There's a couple people that have reached out to me, some people locally that I'll be replying to a few messages. And similar to the conversation that we've had in the past, of course, Smashbox will be this weekend providing live broadcasting, but then also I'm looking for additional content that can be then placed on the Disc Golf Guys channel. Believe it or not, I can't do record some other card while I'm commentating on the lead card. So if there's someone that has that experience and is interested in helping out, reach out to me. And that could be said of the next upcoming events as well at a few of these other Pro Tour stops. And in general, if you're interested in working with me and helping grow the Disc Golf Guy channel, people are always welcome to reach out to me and let me know. I've had some great support in Tony. I've had Rick. I've had Matt. I've had a handful of people help me out along the way. But if you're going to be around or traveling and want to be at some of these big events, and it's something that you can do on little or no budget, I'm all ears, and I'd love to work with you. There's no budget because I don't have a budget, because nobody has a budget, just to put the disclaimer out there. So, yes, it should be a really good weekend for everything there, Dana.
Cool. And then what do we have any podcast plans for the week? Or is this just going to be
We haven't even thought about it or even discussed it for that matter. And if depending on internet connection and we're staying at the Lighthouse, which is a more rustic, right on the lake, beautiful place, which
I'll be there.
Yeah, I don't know the internet situation there, so I know that's where Terry will be. So I don't know what the plans are as far as podcasts. I don't foresee there being one every night. We might slip one in at some night. Phrasing.
A podcast slipper?
Wait, what? What's going on? I'm not staying with you guys. Just so everybody knows, I'm not staying with Terry and Honey.
Yeah, I'm not staying there. I'm actually staying here in Milwaukee to do my job here. But we're not sure about the podcast. We haven't really discussed it yet. We'll figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, and like so many other things regarding our broadcast, it always comes down to internet connectivity, whether that's with cell phone signals or Wi-Fi signals or whatever the case might be. That's why, unfortunately, there's just not a good definitive answer that we can give, and we're going to be out there working as long and as hard and as diligently as we can to bring you as much as we can. So you'll just have to kind of stay tuned to some of that action. I know one thing we have to do is we'll update the banner on our Smashbox TV Facebook page and kind of give you guys a little bit of an update as to when we're going to see most of the live broadcast taking place. The first round we'll be covering is Friday afternoon. That's slated for the Silver Creek course. And then Saturday will be a single round over at Rolling Ridge. And Sunday will be the final round over at Rolling Ridge. So that's the schedule as of right now, with tee times and other details to be announced.
TBA.
Mhm.
All right, that'll be kind of tough for me to come do some commentating with you on Friday.
I'll get Rebecca Black. It's Friday, gonna.
I just muted him. Don't worry.
So that's
man.
yeah.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
that's for me to start making my way out. Also, if anybody is interested in Ledgestone Insurance Open Fundraiser Discs, Nate Heinold or myself, maybe a couple other people have them. Feel free to reach out. There's some really cool molds. All the money does go to support the event. We are raising a lot of money for St. Jude as well, shooting for $30,000 to donate to St. Jude. So also, if you would like to make a donation, please contact me and I can get you a link to do so. Or if you're interested in helping with the event or have some sort of cool idea or fun thing you'd like to see happen at a big event, reach out to me. We're all ears. And looking forward to seeing everybody this weekend. Not Johnny, but Terry and all you Smashies out there.
All right, pal. Well, we love the hair, and we'll see you tomorrow night probably.
Wait, before I go, I was thinking about shaving my beard into a mustache. What's everybody think? I'll hop on the comments. Let me know.
And Dana out.
Can I say just clean shaven? Shave it all?
No, you're not supposed to say clean shaven.
Why is that? Is there
It's offensive.
politically incorrect
No,
correct term now?
So get this. I was watching.
Oh, jeez.
I was watching some. It wasn't a documentary. It was like a piece on CBS Sunday Morning about this club out in New York, and now they're throughout the country. Basically, it's a bearded club, the Bearded Villains, I think they're called.
Of course.
And they are, they do a bunch of charity work and this and that, and they all have these big old bushy beards. But anyone can join. But they say they don't like the term clean shaven because it makes it sound like people who are not shaven are not
dirty?
clean. Yeah, you're not clean shaven. Are you dirty?
I think a beard of certain size and style has a much higher likelihood of being dirty.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that you are not clean shaven.
Okay, that fair enough.
I don't care because
I'm
I
currently
can't
not.
grow facial hair.
We know.
So
Someday you will.
no, I won't.
No,
I'm
probably
glad. It's called evolution.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it anymore. We no longer live in caves. I am.
You're more evolved.
I'm more evolved than.
So because you
I'm
don't
tall-
have hair and you're taller and you lack pigment in
Yeah.
your skin,
Yeah.
you're saying you're more evolved than the rest of us.
Basically,
Yes.
that's how. I mean, think about it. If the human race is evolving to a certain thing, we're all indoors now. We all have, most of the world has no need for the more pigment because we are not outdoor workers as much.
Uh-huh.
And I'm taller. I'm genetically
Which-
superior.
I don't know how that benefits you with regards to being indoors, your height.
No,
if anything, that
it doesn't.
hinders you.
Sometimes
You almost hit your head in your own basement
I do.
sometimes.
I got low doors though. I'm just saying.
I mean our Smashbox studio.
I'm just saying. That's whatever. All right, so we're waiting on Yuli now. I have messaged him. I've texted him, and I can't see him online yet.
While we wait for Yuli, I'm going to quickly address one of our Smashies, Chris Cobb. Chris, it would be a great idea for us to get more information from Dave Felberg and the Latitude Amateur Tour that had kicked off back in January when I was out in Arizona. In fact, I'd love some updates as well. I know he's reached out to me regarding the finale, and I think that taking place in Colorado in October. So I'd love to get more details. And the next time I see Dave Felberg, obviously we know he's on the road to recovery at the moment. But yeah, I'd love to get and provide then the rest of the world more details regarding the amateur tour that Latitude had kicked off earlier in the year. So I'll just, to answer you, I unfortunately know about as much as you do right now as to where
Sure.
that all stands. And I haven't been proactive enough to go actively search it out on the internet. Maybe if somebody knows where it is, they can let us know, and we'll talk about it. And so you said we are currently waiting on.
We're waiting on Uli. I texted him, told him 10 minutes. That was 10 minutes ago. I messaged him on Facebook. So as soon as I see him pop up here on Skype, we will get him on the line. But some of the things that we've seen in disc golf this past week, we already briefly touched on Bradley moving over to Innova now that he's touring more and playing more and winning, as we can see. Innova has picked him up. The 2017 Pro Worlds was announced this past week. I think it was announced last Wednesday, right after the show. And it is going to be held at the International Disc Golf Center and Augusta, Georgia. So we're going to see those two courses. It's going to be run by, I'm assuming, the PDGA, and probably maybe the local Augusta club will help out as well. So
and to clarify, I believe it's, and again, I had just a few moments to look at this. I believe they are in fact using one of the courses from the International Disc Golf Center, which is out in closer to Appling, Georgia, which is just a suburb, so to speak, of Augusta, and then using a course that's found at the Hippodrome, which is in Augusta. So
a modified one that they said Paul Macbeth had a hand in helping create.
Correct. So very unique. Just knowing that we have 3 courses at the International Disc Golf Center. We have the Steady Ed course, the Jackson Memorial course, so on and so forth. I think some people were maybe wondering or questioning as to why. At some point, we'll have a conversation with who's ever elected the TD, or maybe a Brian Graham or someone like that.
Whoever draws the short straw.
Yeah, as to the exact reasoning and logic. And maybe it was even posted. I admit I'm a little bit out of the loop here for the last few days, but I know there was immediately some questioning. I don't want to say pushback or feedback, but maybe feedback's the word, as to, okay, well, it'd be so much easier if it was just all at the International Center versus having one in town and then one outside of town.
About how far is that?
I want to say it's been a few years
30
now.
minutes?
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes,
Okay.
depending on the exact
not
course
bad.
you're going to. No, it's not bad at all. It's just the International Disc Golf Center seemingly has everything you would want. But then again, I know the Hippodrome has built itself into quite the complex and the name
Correct.
for itself, hosting the collegiates event and so on and so forth. So I'll be interested to hear more of the details, some of the background story. And in that same light, I believe the PDGA also announced that they're taking bids for upcoming major events. So if you go out to the PDGA.com, you can see there's a link out there where they're talking about people wanting to submit bids to host large events.
2017, 2018, 2019 events?
Yeah, some of the majors and whatnot. And again, I didn't get a chance. I just saw the headline that had announced it. So if you or your club is looking, and when they talk about having bids, those are usually for things like the U.S. Women's Nationals, which I believe is going to be in Maine this year. There's Pro Worlds, there's AM Worlds, there's other doubles events, so on and so forth. Those are some of the U.S. Masters event is usually bid out. So those are some of the events that are bid out on an annual basis for a few years out. So if you or your club think you have a really good course with a foundation of solid volunteers, maybe you should be looking into hosting one of those big events. One thing that
and we'll say this is for the PDGA to host quite possibly we'll say inaugural new standard for Worlds, being only MPO and FPO. They can do it with less courses. So if that has been a hindrance to you or your club in the past, no longer. All you need is 2 quality courses.
Yeah, it allows for a lot more flexibility. One could even argue a place like a Beaver State layout, for instance, could in theory then host a Worlds and could just literally be held at Milo McIver because of the 2 great 18-hole courses that are there.
Sure.
So it provides a lot more flexibility in terms of clubs that can host certain events depending on the size and the needs for that event. John had mentioned over from Boom, the team Boom, that there was in fact that 4-hole playoff. I'm sorry, I thought it was only 2 holes originally, but he's saying there was a 4-hole playoff at the Red, White, and Boom. Congrats. That was Nico that ultimately took that down. I saw a post on the Facebooks of him making what ultimately was his putt to win it, and he bested Philo Brathwaite in taking down that event. So 4-hole playoff. Nico came out on top. Congrats to Nico. how close should the courses be? Someone had asked in regards to the bidding process. Typically, you're looking at they love them anywhere within 15 to 30 minutes. I know there can be further depending on the quality of the courses and some of the needs, or if one maybe is a great central hub that can host a bunch of camping or something like that, and then maybe some of those can be expanded. But I would say 30 to 45 minutes is roughly the far end of what they'd like to see, because we want to keep our players and their travel schedules as close as possible. So,
All right. We have waiting in the green room.
Yes, we do.
Paul Ulibarri.
Uli's picks.
Bum. He's spinning us around like a roller coaster.
Right.
He doesn't know if he wants to go horizontal or vertical. Who knows?
All right, Mr. Patriotic Pants. What do we got?
Are you going to get your own Twitter account like Paul McPants?
I don't think so. How's my connection, first of all?
It's all right.
So far, so good.
All right, good.
Now,
No,
your
no.
razor, on the other hand, not doing so good. Were you there for the segment about facial hair with Johnny?
No.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. So tell us about your weekend. Let's start there out in Delaware.
Delaware?
Delaware?
It was awesome. Me and Drew got to head out to Delaware, of course, and play the Delaware Challenge. We stayed with one of my good friends, Dan Mears, who's always been an awesome host to us, to me. And then Drew got to see that firsthand. And, the course out there is extremely difficult and long and challenging. If you guys haven't heard about it, I think it's a par 72 course, and I think probably the hardest course on the planet.
Really? So, because AJ Risley gave us not a quick, I was going to say a quick breakdown. He gave us an extended breakdown of the tournament, the round, your course record, which was then tied the next day by Bradley, and
right.
That you kind of were a little too aggressive maybe on that first round, and you paid for it a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I think I was just a little unfocused for some reason the first round, and I didn't get a good fix on the terrain, and I think was a little more pumped up maybe for the second round.
Okay. Well, like shooting a course record will do that. And you, AJ was a little confused by the ratings, we'll say, being your course record being only a 1061. We all know that everyone has their individual, responses when it comes to ratings. How do you, if you had to rate that round on a personal scale, so to speak, where would you put that?
Well, as far as for a throwing round, it was one of my best rounds ever. I still managed to miss 4 putts in the circle, which is like a typical Ulibarri round. It seems like no matter how good I shoot, how bad I shoot, it seems like I miss 4 to 5 in the circle, no matter how good it is.
Did you ever think about practicing?
I practice a lot, actually, so I could only be like if I didn't.
You'd be like us.
But you guys know, like, you're playing a good round, you miss 4 in the circle, it doesn't matter how good you shoot, you left those easy ones out there. So with that being said, it was as far as best rounds I've ever shot, no, I don't even think it'd probably make the top 10, but for throwing rounds, for sure, probably top 5 that I've ever done. I was putting, I think, on every hole for birdie pretty much.
Okay. So where are you right now? So if you were in Delaware 2 days ago, where are you right now?
We made our way up to Wisconsin for the Pro Tour this weekend. An old friend of mine, Brad Brotz, was gracious enough to put me and Drew up for the week and weekend.
Wait, is Brad back in Sheboygan?
Yeah, he's been for a few years
No,
now.
I didn't know. Last time I saw him, he was in Arizona, and then so.
Yeah, no, he's living back here in Sheboygan again, and he has a nice house, and he actually has a nice little camper trailer out that he has electric too, so we get our own little space and stuff, and it's working out really good.
Awesome.
And so have you gotten a chance to get any of the action in? This is a little bit of a pro tour preview as well, but have you gotten any action in out in Manitowoc or at Rolling Ridge?
I haven't.
Don't bother.
Looking forward to it. We just got in today, like I said, and we're gonna hopefully get 2 rounds in tomorrow, and then I think get the last round in the next day, and we have a clinic that I'm gonna be a part of on Thursday. Part of like the pro-am and stuff, so that's gonna be good.
I guess, and maybe I'm not sure how you would attack this. Would you rather play the course where you think you're going to score better? Because the Silver Creek course, there's a lot more birdies out there. The lines are a lot easier than at Silver Cup. Or would you rather go to Silver Cup, learn the way more difficult course, where I would say there's a little bit more luck out there to hitting those lines? Which one would you think you would rather attack if you didn't have all the time?
Can you hear Drew in the background pretty good?
A little bit. You can hear
just,
mumble.
Yeah, vaguely or faintly hear him.
All right, just a second.
Yell at him. Yell at him real good.
Drew,
Shut your face, Drew.
This isn't Drew's picks. This is Yuli's picks. Shut your face.
Hi, Drew.
Hi, Drew. We were just saying good things about you.
I'm sure you are. Never
I just
once.
heard you yelling in the other room. So
We love your glasses. You look good, buddy.
Thanks, I got him at Ross.
Okay.
Nice.
No. So I would always rather play the more difficult course. Whatever that is, there's all kinds of different styles of hard courses, whether it be OB, heavily wooded, long. And I'd always prefer the hardest course that the property has to give.
Okay.
Give for a big tournament.
Yeah, and so then you're going to want to play.
I'm not a fan of deuce or die.
Rolling Ridge, and that's what Manitowoc is going to be. It's going to be deuce or die, because there's not a hole. Like I said, there's one hole that's going to be difficult to reach, but I think some of the really big arms can get up there and give yourself a putt at it. But otherwise, Manitowoc, every hole you could potentially be running at a deuce, a 2 even, I'll say.
Okay.
So
harder the course, better for me.
Okay.
Well, and that also is better for our better players, that too, because a mediocre to decent professional could go out and have a good day and get a lot of the birdies that you're talking about. Yeah. Whereas if you guys go to a tougher course and you play that over an extended period of time, the best players are going to ultimately, more often than not, come out on top as well. So it only, helps you to be playing a more challenging course with your skill sets.
Exactly.
But it sounds like we're playing the easier ones the first 2 days.
Just the first round.
Just the first day.
2 rounds.
Yeah. Friday you'll play 2 rounds of the 2 easy, I'll put them in quotes, easy courses, because there are a lot of deuce or dies. I wouldn't be surprised if you're shooting 2 18s to see somebody come out of there with 2 12s.
Wow. Okay.
And then you're looking at an 18 hole at Rolling Ridge, where I think someone might break the 40s. 49?
I'm not sure on the exact locations of the pins. I know they're in the toughest.
I think they're in the toughest. So you might see somebody get the 40s. I don't know what the course record is there. I don't know if I think Cale
said it last year
with a 40 something.
So speaking of Cale and a question as to his health and his safety and where he's at and playing this weekend or not, I want to actually segue over to your wife as to where she is, because we're not going to see her at Silver Cup. Where is she, and what does she have going on?
Yeah, she actually flew to overseas. She's in Estonia this weekend, running a series of clinics with some of the other Prodigy crew. And I believe Germ's over there, Will's over there, Zach Melton. So they're over there doing the 2016 Champions Tour is what we're calling it. And
okay.
Yeah, so that's where she is, and I'm actually going to be flying over to Estonia on Monday. Okay.
So, and then talk a little bit about the golf that's going to happen over there before we get to your picks. But talk a little bit about the golf, as what what brought everyone to those decisions? Because people are thinking, well, the Pro Tours in swing, Am Worlds is taking place here in Wisconsin, but yet we're seeing a number of our top players, all the players you just mentioned, Macbeth, Sexton, so on and so forth. There seems to be a little bit of a sprawl right now. Is there a reason behind that, or talk about maybe that crew that you just mentioned? Because I think you probably know their logic more than anyone.
Yeah, no, it's getting a little crazy. I feel like year after year, there's more tours, more tournaments. Obviously we all want to play the biggest tournament, and the schedules are getting a little different. And I guess over there at Prodigy, we're just trying to not, stay away from running the clinics and stuff, and try to make a little more room for stuff like that, because that's just as important to us, to run the clinics and stuff. And it's huge for everybody else also, especially overseas. And I always try to run as many clinics here in the States as possible too. So
Kenny Rogers brings it up on the message board. How many times have you checked that you have your passport? Like, is it like a daily thing? You're like, I got it. It's right here.
I just got it like 3 days ago, so I'm not going to tell you where I put it, so that one of your smashies doesn't come steal it from me. I'm super paranoid, but I got it in a nice place.
Just take it to Midas. They'll tell us where it is.
That's right.
Oh.
And then when you're going over there to do these clinics, and then that leads right into the golf that's taking place over there, which includes what?
Estonia Open, which is a A-tier event that I'll be playing, and the very next week we'll take the ferry back over to Stockholm, Sweden, and we'll play the European Masters.
Okay. All right.
And then fly straight back Monday, head over to Minnesota and play the Pro Tour again. So, like I said, the schedule this year has been pretty crazy to me. At one point, I think we played like 3 national tours in a month or something, just ridiculous. And I don't know if I like it or if I don't.
I guess it depends how you're playing. If you're playing really hot and you feel like, take Bradley Williams right now, I'm sure he would love to just sit and rack up NTs and A tiers and majors right now while he's on a hot streak. Maybe someone like Macbeth may not feel that way right now.
Right. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, and me, of course, I play more tournaments than anybody. So, so if I'm saying it might be a little too much, it probably is. I feel like.
Yeah.
A lot of tournaments, and it's just, I feel like we're getting pulled every which direction. So I don't know. How do you guys think it's going to all pan out next year? Is there going to be Pro Tours still and World Tours? Are they going to pull players here? They're going to pull players there? Is the national tour just going to become a thing of the past? I have no idea.
Yeah, we have no privy to that information. I think you're going to see maybe more Pro Tour stops. That's not a hidden thing. And maybe some events that we've already seen, that we already know will probably be Pro Tour stops. And they'll just kind of maybe join the club. Maybe they'll be, for all I know, maybe they'll be just like the Vibram, dual Pro Tour NT stops. It's hard to say. So.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see is definitely.
Now there's dual major.
Well, and I think you're also going to see a concentrated effort between UC and Steve Dodge, assuming both of them are running their respective tours. I think you're going to see a very concentrated effort. They tried not to do any overlapping this year. But moving forward, if they both want to continue with their vision and continue with the goals of their own tours, they have to realize, or they have realized, that they can't compete with one another at all. So whether one is fully completed before the next one starts, or if the way they go back and forth, but they definitely need to make sure that they're not on conflicting weekends, or you're going to have people that are really going to challenge.
I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest. I think eventually in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see these guys start to overlap, because look at what's happening right now, where even if they don't overlap and they're a week apart, people are still having to make a decision. And there's just not enough weekends to spread them out 2 to 3 weeks apart for all of them. If the Pro Tour really does jump up to 8, 10, 12, whatever events next year, and the World Tour maybe expands from 5 to 7 or 9 or whatever their plan is, you're just going to see these players pulled apart. And there's eventually going to be I'll almost call it a players tour, where you guys are all going to probably chat and say, okay, we're going to hit this one and we're going to hit that one. Maybe we don't necessarily go to Greece or wherever the course is, or Manitowoc or wherever. So it'll be interesting.
You see a lot of the top pros kind of dabbing their foot, and I mean, we're trying to support all the different tours. You know, we don't want to shy away from the World Tour or the Pro Tour. Like, we respect the tournament directors and we respect what they're doing, and we're trying to do the best we can. It's just it's like every month there's one here, one there.
Yeah.
Tough. I don't know.
It
Too
is.
Too many tournaments almost, and not enough time.
You know what's not tough? Picking winners. You and I are picking some winners.
No. Neither of you picked
No, we didn't pick
any
a
winner.
Not true.
Winner this weekend. None of the three of us picked a winner. We picked points that won us. We picked people that won us points, but none of the three of us picked a winner.
I picked the right person in the right spot. That would be a winner. I mean,
You're
it
stretching
wasn't. It
When
wasn't
you're
the.
as
It
desperate
wasn't
as
the
you guys
winner.
are. If you want to redefine the term winner,
Oh no,
because you guys are desperate, then that's fine.
that's a winning spot when you pick the right person in the right spot. That is worth the most points.
All right, let's get to our picks.
So last week, Yuli and I each scored a handful, 5 points.
Kind of like what you do on a normal hole of golf, a handful.
Out at Rolling Ridge, yeah. But it's probably because like 3 trees got in my way. I can't wait, Paul. Next week, I want to have a good, nice talk about what you think of the courses. Terry,
like normal, takes a 2.
takes a 2. Only if we're at Valley View.
Yeah.
2 points. So I picked. Or well, I'll start with Yuli. Yuli, you picked yourself to win, but you did get 1 point. You had Ricky taking second, so you got 3 points there. Then you had your brosif, Drew, gave you a goose egg, and you had Bradley Williams in fourth. He only gave you 1 point because he won. Myself, I went Ricky for 1 point, Bradley for 1 point. I had you in third for 3 points. Thanks for not doing too great. And Drew had a goose egg I picked as well. Terry went Ricky 1 because he got 1 point. He took Bradley in second, so he got 1 point because he switched him. Then he went Andrew Fish and Drew Gibson, goose egg. So that's how they stacked up last week overall. Terry's still in the lead with 84 points. John is in second with 69 points, and Yuli's in third with 66 points. Coming up, we're within striking distance.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
No,
Crazy.
you're not.
We're getting there.
Yuli, you know how you shot the course record and you still finished in third this weekend? All right, that's how I feel like your picks are going. You can shoot, you can win from here on out, and you're still going to probably finish Yuli's picks in third. All right?
It's just like I said about, I gave you the analogy of Steph Curry, and what I say was going to happen.
Something about him getting 3 points every week?
I don't know.
Johnny, what happened?
They ended up failing at the end, and they had to, just like you're probably gonna have to do. They drafted Big Durant. You're gonna have to find your Durant. I don't know who that's gonna be.
Yeah, but they at least made it to the finals. Yuli, you're not even allowed in the effing arena right now. All right, you're not even sniffing playoffs. You're not even thinking about a court.
He might be cleaning the hardwood.
Yeah. They may take your
Fishing hard.
They may hang you from your feet and use your man bun as a mop to mop the floor, but no, they're not. You're not even in the court. You're not in the arena yet, buddy.
All right. Well, let's get him in the arena.
Sure.
Let's get us close. Let's talk about our Silver Cup picks for 2016. Yuli, why don't you lead us off with your thoughts and picks?
All right. Well, I had a good talk with my friend here who's played the courses a handful or 100 times. And he told me what the courses are like. And he said the last day is where it's going to be decided. He said it's heavily wooded and you need a little bit of power. So I went in fourth place with Nico LaCastro. He just came off of a win this last weekend. He made like a 40-footer to beat Philo, who's been pretty hot.
Yep, in the fourth hole of the playoff at the Red, White, and Boom. Yep.
A confident Nico shoes well all the time, and if he's making his putt, he's always going to be right there, I feel like. Third place, I picked yours truly. Feel like I'm playing pretty steady. Seems like I at least have one hot round of tournament, which is usually good enough to get me top 10, top 3, top 4, top 1, hopefully this weekend. But as long as I'm getting myself 1 point, it's more than Terry scored this last weekend.
I scored 2, but okay.
And I'm picking Paul Macbeth in second.
Okay, perfect.
He's not playing.
Why did you tell him again?
What?
He's in Maine. He's on. I think he pre-registered for all the Pro Tour events, which is why he's on the players list. But he's not playing.
Son of a bitch.
I know Terry doesn't like it when I tell you.
No, it's not a matter of telling you. I just don't think. I think you've made this mistake.
No.
I don't know how many times.
I like to play on a fair ground. I like everyone to have the same information. We are making.
No. The whole point of Yuli's picks, and I almost could quote Yuli to saying when we initiated this segment, which is, I'm on the tour a lot. I really know what's going on. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of the tour and know these players and the courses and what they throw. I think I know that better than anybody, so I should do pretty good at this.
Yeah.
You also need to know who the F is playing in the tournament, Yuli.
I'll give him this. He probably. You tell him that.
Tournament, I don't know. You literally make 0 point.
If you tell him the type of course like he is, and the type, the time, whatever, long, short, wooded, he'll tell you the winners on who he thinks is going to play well. Keeping track of 30 players where they're going to be isn't necessarily part of the
He's
part of the
on
deal.
more of the tour than I am.
He is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows everybody's schedule like you do. So
what was that, Yuli?
I said you're the media man. That's your job to know.
That's my job. Okay.
All right. So
why would I know that he's in Maine?
Yeah.
Because you're the one that's on the tour.
I don't tour in Maine.
He's not in the RV.
Yeah. All right.
So
you guys know that too. This is incredible.
Anyway, so without Paul,
just tell me you have Sexton first, then, please.
No.
Oh, you should have. That would have been brilliant.
So let's quickly readjust.
Uh-huh.
Let's take a breath and figure out what your picks are going to be.
Well, then I'm gonna pick myself to win. Now that you've made me so mad, now I'm gonna have to win the tournament.
Nice.
Okay.
So you're picking yourself first. Who's second?
Ricky.
Third.
Then pick Nico, and in fourth place I'll put. Actually, no. Drop Ricky out of the top 4.
Okay.
Put Nate Dawson there in second, and then Bradley Williams in fourth.
All right. That's pretty solid. I mean, Williams has been hot, so we're gonna see how that goes. So my picks are Paul, Nate, Rico,
and Paige Pierce
and Terry Miller. He'll be at the course. No, okay. I'll take mine next because I scored 5 points as well.
Mm-hmm.
I went with my fourth place, assuming he's still going to be there. Steve Brinster. We know it's a heavily wooded course.
Hey, Terry, can you tell us exactly where Steve Brinster is, please, since we know you hold everybody's hand?
Well, I was talking to him at the foosball table just last week at the Vibram, and he talked about how he was going to come in on Wednesday. He was looking to book his flight, and he was maybe even looking for a ride. I kind of volunteered some information and said I might be able to help him out. But no, I don't know his official whereabouts. So go ahead, Johnny.
So as of right now, I'm picking Brinster in fourth, heavily wooded, longer course. Fourth, I'm going with Bradley Williams.
Third,
Bradley Williams. Bradley's been playing hot. It's a wooded course, just like he's gotten done playing and winning 2 events. I think he can do a really solid second place. I'm going with Ricky. And winning, I'm going to say he finally takes one down. Michael Joe, going to take his Pro Tour stop. He has 1 NT under his belt, I believe.
Hall of
the
Fame
Hall of
last
Fame
year.
Classic last year. I think he's going to take his first Pro Tour stop down. I think this is a course where it's going to suit him. The heavy woods, the distance, just being. I think he's going to be comfortable, and I think he's going to take first.
Alrighty. Yeah, drop your mic. All right, I am gonna move in. It's funny because our picks are all pretty diverse this week,
That's good.
which is good for me. So I'm going with fourth place. He's won here before in 2001 and 2000 and 99. He's won in Wisconsin, that is. I'm going with our 2001 world champion, Cam Todd, fourth place.
I debated going with Cam Todd. I played with him last year at the first round, and I don't believe he was a big fan of Rolling Ridge,
That's fine.
but I think he can score well.
So I have him in fourth place. In third place, he just quietly shows up. He's got about a 5.5 hour drive over here, and he shows up and he finds himself on the leader card frequently. That's Alex Geisinger, third place. We saw him on the leader card at the Vibram Open, so I think Alex is going to do well. I know he's been here before. In second place, I went with Johnny V's winner in Michael Johansson. MJ, obviously known for threading the needle through the woods, which will be at a premium come Saturday and Sunday's rounds. And winning it, I'm going to go with him again. It's the Rickster, Slick Ricky Wysocki, first place.
All right. Any particular reason why Ricky, or just you think he's due?
I kind of think he's due. I think he's been. He's going to have a good battle. Obviously, we have the best of the best that are here, great players. But I feel like Ricky's going to get it dialed in. And what's tough to talk about this weekend is people will see Saturday and Sunday these rounds. Any one of the four players that any one of the three of us picked could shoot a 4 over the one round at Rolling Ridge and could shoot a 9 under the next round at Rolling Ridge. There are a lot of different kicks and looks and things that can happen out at that course. There's a lot of trees there, and if someone's off just a little bit, they can get punished severely. Maybe more so than people think about out at Vibram, a hole like hole number 6. It's or 7. Very narrow fairway. And one kick can kick you OB, could kick you OB over the wall on 6, into the water on 6. 7, we watched Nate Doss take a kick off a tree, and it literally carried to within 50 feet of the basket when he hit one of the first trees off the tee. And someone else could hit a different tree, and it could carry literally 100 feet straight right and make a 5 look like a miraculous score by the time they've completed the hole. So there's a lot of that at Rolling Ridge, and it's going to take mental focus, and it's going to take some patience, and we've got a lot of good players, but I'll recap: Wysocki, Michael Joe, Alex Geisinger, and Cam Todd. And honestly, I'll say this right now: if none of those four were even in the top 4, I also wouldn't be that shocked. That's the kind of golf I think we're going to see this weekend.
And you gave me this look, and it made me think. I think I had said the 40s. I meant the 50s for Rolling Ridge. If anyone's going to hit 59, 58, not 49, 48. I was 10 off. But yes. So
Nate Doss going to be there?
Nate Doss is going to be there.
Yep.
And
he had a little practice on the course.
Yeah, and it was tough for me not to put him in there as well. Again,
Same here.
there's so many good competitors that we have there. And that's the best recap I can say is if none of my 4 were in the top 4, I also wouldn't be shocked. And it could be 4 completely different people. There's just not a great way to predict how this is going to go down. So it should be a dynamic week for us, and I'm excited to see how things shake out. And I'll also go as far as giving a little more smashy update. Someone like a Cale Aviscott, none of the 3 of us picked him. He is on the list. However, when we last spoke to him at Vibram, he was uncertain as to this weekend if he was going to play or not. I haven't gotten any updates out of him personally. I haven't followed up, but I know he was at least questionable would be a good way to say it. So, and maybe all 3 of us were privy to that, but none of us had picked him, even though he's the current champion of the event and has the course record. I personally, he could win it, but I personally, I didn't want to risk the idea that he may or may not even be physically in attendance.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt too with him being sick. Even if he did play, I don't know if he'll be at full Cale capacity. So
Yeah, first things first, just get him healthy,
Correct. So it should be a really good weekend. And then you're looking, I was going to say, is anyone in the top 4 or 5 spots? So really the next highest rated player that wasn't ultimately picked would have been Eagle McMahon. Macbeth's not going to be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. So Eagle being the 5th highest rated player there, but yet not picked in anyone. And then the 8th highest rated player being Leviska. And then Steve Rico, I'll go as far as saying I wouldn't bet on Steve Rico. I'm not certain that he's going to for sure be there. I know he's going to be, he was planning on being here for some Am Worlds action. I'm not certain that he's going to be here this weekend. So that might be another insider tip for all of our Smashies out there that I wouldn't bet on it. I reached out to him tonight, and I've yet to get a response as to if we'll for sure see him or not. So
Yeah, he was busting at laying concrete earlier this week, I saw. So
that's what he does. Those Ricos getting down to some business.
All right.
So,
All right, Paul. Well, I wish you the best of luck at Silver Cup. I hope you win. I do. I hope you shove it in Terry's face and mine because I didn't pick you. But I hope you do well. And like I said, I'll be really interested to hear how you feel about these courses in general, both of them, because I know they're very highly rated in Wisconsin.
Right.
So.
All right, buddy. Well, I will likely run into you maybe as early as tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night. If not, I'll for sure see you on Thursday.
Awesome, guys.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right. That was Paul Ulibarri. Ulibarri. Uli.
Yes, Brett Camincioli or Caminsoli.
Let's just hack everybody's name. Terry
It
Mueller.
says that he tuned in late. No Macbeth. That is correct. Paul Macbeth is, in fact, not competing this weekend. I believe, I'm going to go as far as, I believe he is also has a birthday coming up. I'm not sure if it's the 8th or the 9th. I know it's one of those days.
Did you send him a cake?
No, but I
should
know
send-
it was near my mother's birthday, so that was one easy way for me to always remember.
You
that.
should send him a signed disc of you.
I should. He would probably like that.
He probably would.
Be on the lookout for that, Paul. You might get a special Tear Bear signed disc.
That brings up a funny thing that you commented on and I commented on. UC put something out there as far as signatures, people signing discs, and he wanted to know why people put, or if they did, put their PDGA number with their signature. And you and I both kind of had this agreement, like it kind of dates you as far as when
your PDGA number is.
What your PDGA number is. Like I'm 14324. That means I signed up in like 98. You're 10738. I think you were in 95, 96?
Somewhere around there.
95, 96 area. It kind of dates you. Plus, I think with a lot of people, somebody posted a signed disc the other day, and I couldn't make out one of the signatures. I couldn't. It was kind of just a scribble. And I thought, well, I saw Avery on there, and I saw Val on there, and I saw Nate on there, but there was one I couldn't make out, and I don't know if it was someone in particular. But I'm thinking like, oh, that would be easier if they had their number. And then it's another way to, because usually I just sign mine Johnny V, and there are and could be other Johnny V's.
Oh, there are.
There are. I know. And so I usually put my number underneath of it, 14324. So I think it's an interesting conversation as far as whether you should or do or don't. Clearly, if you're a world champ, most of them put the number of times if they're more than one, or they just put. Let's see, who's a one? Is Cam Todd put one-time champ on there, or just number one?
I don't think he does that at all. Him nor Ron Russell, for instance.
Yeah, but so Ron Russell.
Yeah,
what's
a
he
good
doing?
call. That was a good call.
It was
a callback.
It was a good pull.
That was a solid one.
Good solid pull.
And more recently, Katrina Allen or Sarah Holcomb. I don't think they put one time on there.
No, maybe unless you expect more. As for Sarah or Kat, I would put one time. Thinking like, hey,
let's date this
before I get 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So that was kind of an interesting thing that it just popped in my head. Other news and social media and stuff we have. There was a thread out there that the points needed for Am Worlds qualifications tripled.
What?
This past week, you used to have to just accumulate 250 points. Apparently is what it was, and it's now 750 points.
Oh, I was gonna say, okay, that seems okay. I would assume it was more than that, but
that's what I saw on, and I'm just gonna.
Isn't it based on like regions and areas and ratings and things of that nature? Not ratings, but regions.
It might be. This was a post particularly on one of the Disc Golf Course Review, someone had put 250 to 750. So I'll take that at face value, maybe with a grain of salt. But do you think that's a direct reflection of the number of events that people are playing or the size of the events
I think it's not so much
and
that
registration?
I think it's more so along the lines of the world's registrations, in the sense that there's a lot of criticism out there for people saying, well, I earned enough points to qualify. There was ultimately, I'll just make up a number because I forget the exact number, so don't quote me, but there was 3,000 people that were eligible to go to Worlds this year, but they only had capacity for 576 or whatever the magic number was. So a lot of people, I think, have been very critical of that. Well, in years past, it's always been the same. There's been 1 or 2 or 3,000 people eligible, but yet the demand, the spots haven't filled, so it's never been a big deal. So they would send out a wave of invites. And then usually if it doesn't fill on that, there would be a second wave of invites, so on and so forth. Well, with the growth of the game and there are more competitors and more players, those numbers have stayed the same, but now there's more people that are wanting to go to Worlds. And so they have to up the threshold to make it a little bit more challenging just to get that initial, invite. So
Sure.
it's a direct response. It makes perfect sense. Because again, you used to look at it, and like I said, people could say, well, they sent out 3,000 invites for only 500 spots, and they'd still have 100 spots empty.
Correct.
This was way in yesteryear, but they still wouldn't even fill it. And now, if they send out 3,000 invites and 2,500 people want to go, well, that's where we're at right now.
Yep.
And in fact, I was just talking to Tony Oseki up in Alaska this weekend, and she said she was one of the women that wanted to sign. She wanted to come play in the event. She ultimately was, I think, 5th on the waiting list, and at a certain point, she just had to pull the trigger and say, okay, well, I don't think I'm going to go, or I'm not going to bother, because she couldn't buy her plane ticket from Alaska in the hopes of getting in.
Yeah.
And so as the tickets rose, well, sure enough, I don't know if it was a few days ago or a few weeks ago, she got the call saying, hey, you're 5th on the waiting list, but here's your number. It's up. And she's like, I can't go now. So, it has to do with planning.
Yep.
There's a lot of different things for how it can unfold and what they can do. So I think just upping that threshold is a good start, just making less people eligible so there's not as much of a fight for it.
Agreed.
Because let's face it, if there's 500, let's just make up a number, 576 spots available and 1,000 invites, that seemingly is, to me, seems like a logical number. There's plenty of people that won't want to go out of that 1,000, but
maybe that would be difficult, but I say, couldn't you take just the top 1,000
point earners
rather than say, hey, if you hit this many points? I mean, I don't know the logistics of it, but
no, there is. I think there's an argument that could be had there, but I think that also then punishes some of the people that may not have as many opportunities. You
Sure.
live in Arkansas or you live in Idaho.
Yep.
It's that much tougher to acquire points.
Correct.
That's why it used to be based.
Hopefully it's still regional, because I think that is a good point, that if you do live in Idaho or Montana and you want to play, you may only rack up 50, 80 points playing against the same 10 guys or 12 guys, even if you dominate. And you may not get that opportunity. So hopefully that is taken into somewhat of account.
Well, and I'm not sure it's regionally based at all anymore.
That would be unfortunate.
I think it's just overall points. And I know our one of our board members, Kevin McCoy, is out on the board. I like when he chimes in and says, ding, 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 our Terry is spot on. So I must have explained my logic and how it coincides apparently with the PDGA's line of thinking. And maybe he can clarify here, but it's just your overall point earners right now versus it broken up by region, and you had to be in the top of your region. I think that was probably, unfortunately, just more confusing than it was worth.
Sure.
To say, okay, you're in this region, which isn't heavily populated, so you only need 200 points. But if you're in this heavily populated area like a North Carolina, you need 900 points to qualify. I think that also just became too confusing for people to wrap their head around, too, because it used to be along those lines. So, and it's tough. Everyone can argue and say, well, let's just play pretend and say Isaac McDonald didn't get in and he wanted to. So some would argue, well, is it a flawed Worlds because Isaac McDonald's not there and he wanted to be there? No. I mean, there's always going to be people that aren't at events that, will somebody say this Pro Tour win isn't qualified because Paul Macbeth and Nate Sexton weren't there? or Will Schusterick's not there. No, I mean, it is what it is. You show up and you try to beat who's ever there. You can't really control anything beyond that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, figured that would be worthwhile noting. The other thing I saw was that Dynamic Disc has another Worlds fundraiser disc out there. It looks like
this is for Pro Worlds, of course.
Pro Worlds. I believe they called it the Former Champs disc, and I didn't get a chance to check it out, but apparently it's going to be signed by a bunch of former world champs. So you'll be able to purchase that, get this piece of history on a Dynamic Disc, and support Pro Worlds. So I think that's kind of a cool idea. I don't think we've seen that before in the past.
That's a really unique angle
Correct.
at it for sure. And how did they break it down? Because I didn't see the actual advertisement as to how they broke it down.
I just saw Emacs post of it. Let me see if I can pull up Emacs post. Fill a couple seconds here, Terry.
Oh, okay. I'll try and talk about something else then. Chris Cobb has talked about saying he played last year in Kalamazoo. Everyone should play at least one AM Worlds. It's a great experience. I couldn't agree more. And that's one of the philosophies that gets talked about at great lengths, and I can attest to it very specifically. When I was going and playing more frequently, I've played the last 20 Worlds, whether they were AM or Pro. I would go, and I was going for a week-long experience. I clearly wasn't going there because I thought I was going to win or even take in the top 10. So it was a financial loss indefinitely. There was no doubt about it. If I was going to Pro Worlds, it was going to be a financial loss. However, I went because I was interested in seeing 2 to 3 to 5 new courses. I was interested in the socialization with everybody else that was going to be there. I was interested in seeing who ultimately would be our next world champion. Those were all the reasons that I was attending Pro Worlds. Now, I had a very different philosophy than, say, a Will Schusterick or a Paul Macbeth or a Cam Todd. They're going to win, to play to win. And AM Worlds...
It needs fillers like you and me.
It does, but and then I guess I'll segue over to the AM World side of things. AM Worlds has been really, and this is through feedback and actual documentation and surveys done on the PDGA's website and our members, all of us, that basically has stated AM Worlds is more convention-like. We want people to go there. We want people to soak it all in, to have a good time, to have extracurriculars. It's not as much about cutthroat competition and the dire, drive to be an AM World champion. Of course, everyone wants to go and play well, but more importantly, people want to go and just have a really good time for the week. You're losing money if you're going to AM Worlds, no matter how you cut it. So if you're going to go, you want to play some good golf, you want to get a good players pack, you want to enjoy extracurriculars, you want to stop by Tuesday night's live podcast for Smashbox on Tuesday night at the Host Hotel with only 400 seats available. You want to do all of those things. You want to go to the local Madison Radicals Ultimate game that's going on that I believe is going to be free or very cheap. Those are all the things, and that's through direct feedback that's come in from the membership saying, yeah, if I'm going to AM Worlds, I kind of want it to be a week-long party and a really good time.
I always think there should be 2 reasons you're going to AM Worlds. 95% of the people are going there to have fun, treat it as vacation, and experience the local flavor. 5% of the people going there are to win and get sponsored. Like back in the day. Now, most of those kids are sponsored and trying to win. So give it or take it, it's a vacation. Have fun. If you don't shoot well, don't sweat it. Odds are you're going to be back next year. I'd love to know the percentages of players that play Pro Worlds after they play AM Worlds, I guess, or how many, the average number of AM Worlds you play before you play a Pro Worlds. Like, is it 3, 4? I mean, we know people, myself included, that probably should have constantly just played AM Worlds and just had fun and done it. But, being what we do and where we go, eventually you just move up to Pro and then go play Pro Worlds and, just walk over to Paul and just hand him your entry fee and say thanks, and that goes for Uli or Macbeth. Just find a pro, hand it to them because they're going to take it anyway. So I think that'd be some curious information to know is how many, on average, people that play Pro Worlds, how many AM Worlds have they played, if any?
Yeah, I don't have those numbers.
I know you don't.
Chuck Kennedy does.
Chuck.
They're in his head.
Chuck.
Kevin McCoy says, that's why I want to have regional AM Worlds and an East Coast AM Worlds and a West Coast AM Worlds to get more folks in.
No. Then it's not AM Worlds. It's not worlds then. Like
yeah,
if
they
you
could
want,
be East and West Coast championships of some sort.
Correct.
But yeah, I wouldn't use the term Am World.
unless you use them as qualifiers of some sort for an Am Worlds, then you have a competition like that. But I don't think you could call it an Am Worlds if you regionalize it like that, because then you might as well have a European one and a Southeast Asian one,
a
and
Wisconsin Am Worlds, a
yeah,
Minnesota Am Worlds,
yeah, just
a Milwaukee Am Worlds.
not very often, Kevin. But I say down on your idea. But I
Oh.
do like the thought of having kind of a regional thing like that, just not an Am Worlds. So thanks for filling time. I was able
That's
to
what I do.
find. I was able to find that they're offering actually a They're calling it the Pro World Signature Series, and they're offering 3 discs. Disc 1, celebrate the 4 FPO champions who have managed this amazing feat of multiple world championships: Juliana, Des, Val, and Paige.
Which is awesome. And to
Yep.
follow that, to just speak to that one point further, none of those are DD sponsored women.
No,
And so it goes to speak to the idea of they're truly trying to commemorate and come up with this unique item, and they're not there's not a well, in fact, other than EMAC, I don't think we're going to see any of these discs that are going to be potentially by DD players.
And
So again, that just speaks to the point that
not only that, this particular disc, disc 1 as they're calling it, all the money raised for this disc goes directly and only to the FPO purse. What? Great idea. They're saying this disc is going to be signed as early as possible by all 4 of these women as soon as they get to town in August, and they're going to begin shipping them out immediately. Shipping costs are included in the price of the disc. Disc 2 is celebrating the 4 MPO champs who have managed multiple world championships: Kenny, Barry, Nate, and Paul. And that particular disc will go only to the MPO purse. So, and same thing, it's going to get signed. Disc 3 is going to celebrate all 16 winners of MPO, FPO divisions in the 21st century. They say they already have at least 12 of the champions agreed to participate in this signature. The disc will be signed at the Block Party /Fly Mart on Friday the 12th. It looks like it's going to get, they're going to rattle off some names here: Katrina Allen, Ken Climo, Nate Doss, Dave Felberg, Sarah Holcomb, Avery Jenkins, Valerie Jenkins, Paul McBeth, Eric McCabe, Paige Pierce, Barry Schultz, Des Redding, and Cam Todd. All money raised will be split proportionally based on the field size between MPO and FPO. So I really like this idea. I think it's very clever. I think it's unique. And I plan to hopefully get one of each. So have the collection.
Wow, Johnny, where can we find these amazing discs?
Well, Terry, I'm glad you've asked. You can go out to 2016proworlds.com, and all the information is there under Pro World Signature Series discs.
Sounds like a great place. The only feedback or suggestion I'd give them right here on the air is that they should have a package for all 3, so I don't have to add individuals to my cart, because I'd like to get all 3 today.
Yes, because it's FPO is $24.99, MPO is $24.99, and the All Champion is $29.99.
They need
You're right.
3-pack.
They do need a
price.
3-pack for like $80 or something. So
75 carry the one. Yeah, something like that. So
Bingo.
anyway, very cool. Great to see. Awesome work by the crew there over at DD.
So fantastic. All right. So there was that, and finally,
Speaking of champions,
somebody finally pulled the trigger. Avery Jenkins apparently proposed finally to.
Apparently.
I saw a ring. I didn't see video of it.
she said yes. There was a video too, I believe.
Oh, was there? I missed the
think there
video.
is,
I
yes.
just saw the great picture.
It's part of Simon's trick shots.
Does he throw the ring on her finger? That would be epic. No. So yeah. So congratulations, Avery and Leah. Best wishes to you guys. I sent them a nice little JPEG that said something along the lines of, congratulations, mommy and daddy are getting married. So,
Yes. Very nice.
So we wish them the best and nothing but well wishes. So way to make an honest woman of her, Avery.
That a boy. Good job, Ave. So congrats to them both, of course.
Yeah. Do you have anything? Have you've been kind of out of the disc golf loop? You've been up in the way northern regions of Alaska.
Yes. Well, I'd like to. I can add in with a few other details. I've now gotten an update from Steve Rico saying that he's not coming at all, and I believe that is to Silver Cup. And he says it looks like he'll just be at Pro Worlds.
Ouch.
So that is very unfortunate because we're hoping to line him up and have him also join us for the Pro Panel Smashbox podcast next Tuesday night. We're going to continue to work on getting some of our top players in there to have a conversation with us while we're live in Madison. So update on Steve Rico. So if you don't pick him in your, we should have a segment called like T-Dog's non-picks where I tell you everyone that's really not going to be there.
Well, the way, and granted, as we saw with the Pro Tour, you could sign up for all of them, which a lot of players did. So you're going to see people like Rico probably on all of them on the pre-reg list, even if he's not going to attend. Same with Paul. And, I didn't see Nate, so I don't know if he...
Paige Pierce.
Yeah, Paige Pierce. So it's going to be interesting to see who does and doesn't play in some of the next couple events.
Yeah, so Rad Jackson, we are going to be at all of the Pro Tour events from a Smashbox perspective. So I would like to go ahead, and I know we're 2 hours in, but again, I just want to go over some of the amazing action that I saw this weekend in Alaska.
Make it quick.
It was just that. It was breathtaking. We arrived late Wednesday evening, ultimately got out to the course. It's weird to go onto a course and it's 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock at night and it's perfectly light out. You could start your round of golf at 11 o'clock and it wouldn't be weird whatsoever to do. Thanks to Thad and Rick Kramer and the rest of the crew over there at the hill, at Ski Hill. Now I'm losing my mind. Wow. Over at the Ski Hill, it just was... It's tough to explain because when I think of ski hills, I always think like golf courses. They're tough to design courses that can be challenging, that aren't boring.
Yeah.
Because when you think of sometimes over at a ski hill or a golf course, you would like to think long, boring, not a lot to work with. But Hilltop is where we were. Hilltop ski area is everything and then some.
And no one likes to throw uphill, but everyone loves to throw downhill.
Correct. And to see a hole that's hole 10 that's 1,049 feet but has OB on it and a chance to lose a disc was awesome to see. And to see people throw uphill, downhill, across the hill is a little bit of everything. Not too often you'll see videos and pictures of it. Not too often you're in the middle of a round and there's a moose just hanging out literally a few hundred feet from you. Like big, huge moose. There was
they can be dangerous.
Moose. Yeah, exactly. A moose also with her little baby calf that was out there during a couple of the rounds. There was a bear sighted at one point during one of the rounds. I'm sad I missed it, but
not a T-bear spotting, a real bear.
Not as sad. So to have bear and to have moose on the course, it's just amazing. So $10,000 added. And they're serious when it comes to things like pre-registration. I had said, well, there's 61, 63 people. He's like, yeah, we could have had 10 or 20 or maybe even 30 more. It's like, but I have a deadline. We have a deadline of, roughly 20 or 30 days out. I want to get the player packs ready. I'm going to work on food. I want to get all these other amenities taken care of. And yeah, I know we ultimately turned away a few people that wanted to come play. But let's get on the idea of having a deadline.
Good
and
for them.
They stuck to it, and they turned away people because of it. And ultimately, those people didn't get in on the $10,000 added purse because of it. So I feel like if more people just, pre-reg is something I've been beating on for years. Get pre-registered, especially for an event like that, because he means business. Everyone thinks, well, there's only, our good friend Steve Held is classic. Oh, there's only 12 people signed up. I'll get around to it another day.
I'll wait till there's more.
Yeah, even though he knows he's coming to play. So just sign up. So congrats to Brian Schweberger. The weekend before, Brian had taken down his 200th win up in Alaska. It went all the way to the final hole, the final putts, where he edged out, I believe it was Joe that he edged out. Well, this weekend he took it in a much more handedly. He wasn't leading out of the gate, but then he turned it on and ultimately shot 35 under par and had an 11-stroke victory over James Beckner. I got to see some up-and-coming studs in Jake Haskin, who's on the Prodigy Street team, Joe Schatt. Saw Thaddeus, who travels to Wisconsin to play. So, and then our good friend, Mike the Magic Stick, He was, believe it or not, questioned about his question about his nickname there.
Yeah.
Kudos, the Magic Stick. They had a little distance competition. Mike was one of the final guys to throw. And you throw.
We just asked last week how far we think he can throw.
Well, and this isn't a great judge because you throw along the baseline where it flattens out and then it goes uphill. So to take that into account,
Sure.
we're not really sure. But when he finally got turned over his Excalibur a little bit, he was able to outdistance every other person in the field. So that was pretty cool to see. He had a really solid finish to get inside the cash. Not bad. I believe the entry fee was $100, and he took tied for 7th, and he walked away with $310.
Wow.
And so typically you're not tripling your entry fee unless you're winning a tournament. So another added testament to the payout that was there. It was pretty phenomenal. I know Schwebe took over $1,000, and there was only 19 open players. And he still took home over $1,000 for his efforts.
Fantastic.
Was it maybe closer to 15? Actually, I think it was $1,575.
Wow.
So $1,500 for his efforts. Not too bad. Amy Lewis was semi-famous here. She's the one that hit the ace during the Dirty Dollar.
Yep. Everyone saw that.
So that was pretty sweet to see.
Right off the tree, back into the
exactly.
basket.
It was awesome. So congrats to Amy. And then got to see Shea play along with Madison, a couple other women up in the area. It's awesome to see because those are 3 players I would not typically, 3 pro women players I wouldn't typically see anywhere else on the tour. They don't leave that side of the country too often. So to be able to see a little flavor. Eden won in Masters over there, and Advanced Dylan. He's the kind of up-and-coming stud. Just to show you what kind of stud Dylan is out in that area, he won by 18 strokes in Advanced. He shot a 7 under par and won by 18 strokes. He shot a 229, which would have cashed in Open. So winning by 18 is Dylan. Solid performance. Tony O from Wisconsin, and so on and so forth. And what was probably one of the coolest things is there were 5 different juniors that were there. And one of the really unique things about this course is it's an 18-hole championship caliber course, plays 8,800 feet. And then they have a 9-hole course as well, which is where you saw the Dirty Dollar action. So there's an entirely separate 9-hole course that's on location. So they had the juniors all, which were under like 12 or 13 years old. They all played the 9-hole course. They just played it through twice to give them their 18 holes. And it was perfectly set up for them. No hole can be much more than 200 feet or 210, 220 feet. And so to see them out there playing, in fact, it was when I went up to film some of the juniors during the opening round, and I was walking along with them, all these tiny little people, and walking along with them. And then it was one of them that's like, "Oh, hey, there's a moose." And you turn around like, "Oh yeah, hey, just
hey,
like
moose.
150 feet away.
Where's squirrel?"
Yeah, there's this enormous moose that was out there. So it was, it was amazing. So can't say it enough. Thank you to Thad, who does so much work out there. He also won Volunteer of the Year of the course, and probably of all of Alaska, I think he should get. So Thad was out there. Schwebe with his 201st win. Rick Kramer, Hilltop Ski Area, just all the amazing people. Lunch, food, camping. It was all there, all provided, all just an amazing time. So you need to get to King of the Hill. Schwebe's treated this as like his personal little playground for the last 3 years and being there. And I know he wants people to come and enjoy it, but at the same time, I think he likes having this hidden little gem. But his cousin up there, Mike, is awesome. It was nice meeting him. It was an amazing experience. And I've been fortunate enough to be brought to a number of really amazing places around the world, Norway and Japan and such. Going up to Alaska was nothing short of those. It was truly great to see. So that's my recap of Alaska.
Awesome.
King of the Hill, 6th annual. Next year he added 10 grand this year. I think it was 5 last year, 10 this year. He says he'd like to add 20 or 30 is what he says he'd like to do. So
well, then maybe I'll go up there because I'm looking, and I'll have to practice, but I'm looking at some of the player ratings that are cashing. I mean, you've got Schwebe at 1,007 and Kenny Clark at 993. Robert Lockwood at 987,
You're looking at the wrong
977.
weekend, I think.
No, this is the right one. These are the ratings of the players who are pre-registered, not necessarily
okay,
cashing.
Okay.
So
You sorted them.
I sorted it by rating. So there's some really solid players, but then like you look at some of the ratings of the players who cashed. Mike is a unique 920 rated player.
That throws 500.
That throws 500 plus feet. He's one of the few. Well, maybe not few, but he's one of the few guys that you look at his 920 rating, and I know, and any given weekend he's a 1,000 rated player. He just doesn't play anymore. He doesn't have that drive that he did. A Joe Satch who's 928 who played well above his rating, 916 who just barely looks like he missed the cash. I would think with a little bit of practice, I'd like to get up there for some of that, but we have to cap the field at 20.
Yeah, 20 people. Yeah,
20 people.
Just 20 people.
I'm just saying 20 people, and then I might come up and
they just need to kick Schwebby out of that field, and it'd be a lot more even.
Good call.
That's what they need to do.
Someone
Let
asked
him
if he
go
played
play.
in the wrong division, and unfortunately, there's no other division for him to play.
Yeah, he
in.
played in the highest division. Again, won $1,500. He obviously is eligible for Masters, and I want to say Eden in Masters. What was the Masters field? 9 people.
9 people.
He took home over $1,000. I wrote the check. He took home over $1,000
Whoa.
in
Oh,
Masters out of 9
God,
people.
2 more years. I'll go up and play Masters instead.
So they're doing really, really great things. Being in Anchorage was a unique experience. Having so much daylight was unique, and then just knowing you can play the course, CTPs, Dirty Dollar, throwing off the ski hill. Again, I know I mentioned it before. That was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done in disc golf is to crawl. We didn't know the exact numbers, but to crawl all the way to the top of this ski, it's a practice ski jump, or maybe it's not just practice, it's a legitimate ski jump, to crawl all the way to the top of that, and then they had a basket at the bottom. So you were aiming for a spot. It wasn't a long drive contest. But you could throw at about, I'd say 30% and get it to go 500, 600, 700 feet.
I was going to say, you and I think the most elevation I have ever thrown on before was in Flagstaff, playing from the top of the hill,
At the
the top of the
snowball,
mountain, the snowball, down to, it was, like, wow.
I think it was like 880 feet or something like that.
That's the distance of the hole, but I'm trying to think of the elevation that it drops.
Oh,
like,
yeah, we
couple
were at
thousand feet?
Yeah, 12,000 feet or something like that is where it started.
Yeah, and then
it went down.
It down. Like, would you say that this was more elevation than that?
No, it was actually less.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was one thing I was comparing
Like
to the snowball.
The change in elevation.
The change in elevation was a little less, and surprisingly, I want to say the hilltop was, for some reason, like 700 feet above sea level. So for those that question and talk about going and playing at Snowball or other courses where you talk about high elevation and how it affects the disc, here that wasn't so much the case.
Correct.
The stabilities weren't affected nearly as much as you can find at some other high elevation disc golf courses. If you went and played obviously in Denver, for instance, it would affect your disc way more than it did here. So that wasn't really much of an issue, which I think a lot of people really enjoyed the fact that it wasn't. So I think the top of the ski hill when you're on hole 9 or 10 is only at like 700 feet elevation above sea level. So if you've got questions about the King of the Hill or really anything in Alaska, I'm pretty much an Alaska representative. I mean, I think I know everything I need to know about Alaska now. No, but what was cool is as part of the trip yesterday, we had gone out. There was 4 of us. We had all gone out and did a cruise, an Alaskan sea cruise. And we saw whales, we saw sea otters, puffins, which is a really specific bird. All sorts of crazy wildlife. And we'll talk about it in the after show. There's something else that was cool that that we can talk about later that I experienced while we were out there in Seward, Wisconsin, or Seward, Alaska. Seward.
All right. Real quick, I know we haven't done it in a long time, but I'm going to do a pick.
Sure.
I just started watching, and I know I'm like 6 episodes behind. 3 through it. Preacher on AMC. You, Terry, would hate it. Hate it with a passion. But it's based on a comic book. It's very surreal at times, but the premise is, from what I've seen so far, something happens to a gentleman who's a preacher who has kind of a crazy former life, and he now has this, we'll call it a superpower to, from what I've seen so far, to control people with just his voice. He tells them what to do, they do it. And he has a crazy sidekick. I won't ruin anything about that. It's very, very, very weird so far. And I'm only 3 episodes in. I think they've done 6 or 7. I don't know if they're even done with the season yet, but I'm really enjoying it. My wife had no interest in it. She sat down halfway through the 3rd episode. I tried to kind of explain things to her. Sometimes she can get interested in things like that, like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, but not with this. I think she kind of rolled her eyes and went right to her phone while I watched the last half hour of the show. So if you get the chance and you're interested in some kind of crazy, I know it's based on a comic book, but it's not comic booky from what I can tell. It's more, I kind of equate it a little bit to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't know why, but maybe it's the color, the palette, but it's really strange and I'm really enjoying it. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with a couple. I was going to say unpicks. I don't think that's really the term. Speaking of watching television, consuming it, maybe streaming service, I got an email notification. Netflix is raising their price by $1.
Yeah, that was
How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. That was announced like a year and a half ago.
That it was going to be?
Yes.
Okay, well, it just went into effect.
Correct,
apparently.
because what they did is for existing users, it was pushed back. But if you signed up, you already paid the $1. So they pushed it back. I think it's, I don't know if it's 6 months or a year and a half, but it was announced a long time ago saying, hey guys, we're going to raise our price $1. And you know what? Well worth it. I would pay another $5.
Wow, that's balling.
Because the original content that they're putting out is all spectacular. Give or take maybe 1 or 2 series that I didn't really enjoy, but it's well worth it. Honestly.
Okay. Well,
how do you feel?
I don't take advantage of it. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Is I've had a Netflix account for quite some time. Our family uses it, so I guess maybe they use it enough that it's probably worth it. But I personally,
Sure.
I don't use it the way I feel like I should or could. But I will say, here's my pick, and
I'm enjoying Voltron on Netflix too.
I've
With
got
my
to
kid.
say
Good-
I'm a
good
pretty
cartoon.
diehard, mainly because I'm frugal. I'm thrifty with my money, as some would say. I'm a big fan of Southwest Airlines. I always have been. I'm trying to get, the next status, Southwest, balling. Well, I was forced to use Delta to go to Alaska. That was really the only practical option, we'll say. And man, oh man, I tweeted about it. Delta has, they claim, their claim to fame, I think, is that they have the best entertainment in the air. And I would have to agree with that. They have not endless. They have a huge variety of different shows, from original programming, from like your HBO series and your Showtime series. Lots of different things for you to watch, games, travelers, whatever. So I like that. Then what I really like about it, and this is getting down to the business, they have actual AC plugins.
That I think is the best thing, because when we flew to Japan, there was none. So I loaded up on extra batteries for the flight, knowing it was like 14 or 17 hour flight or whatever it was. Having AC, and I think you're going to see that in more airlines as things happen. But right now, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Fantastic. Although I have heard, I've never flown them myself, Virgin Airlines, and I don't even know if they're still in business or they were just, but I heard they used to have some of the best entertainment options. So I don't know. But if that's Delta's claim.
Delta won me over momentarily. I'm not going to say I'm going to go out of my way to fly them, but I won't cringe like I used to. I think it's United that I hate, and I think they're somehow tied together. But I was very impressed. And maybe it's just on longer flights. Maybe it's only certain actual length of flights or certain fleet. But they had plug-in and they had a USB charger. It was pretty great. I liked it. So for a guy who cares about technology, who cares about doing work on the plane, having a plug-in, I think, is just awesome, especially when you have a 5.5 hour flight, as I did from Alaska into Minneapolis. All right, we can cut this loose. There's a few other funny, quirky things I've got for you in the after show, but I think we can cut things loose for tonight. Zoe checked in and out. She said she's had a long day. I'll see her regarding the Pro Tour in the next few days. I know her and Dustin and Shasta and Paul Oman are all doing their thing, getting Rolling Ridge and Silver Cup ready for the Pro Tour, so we'll see all of them.
I know I feel bad that they drove through and we didn't get a chance.
It's sometimes just how things roll. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, I'd got to give one more shout out to Hilltop and all the amazing people in Alaska, Rick and Thad and Schwebby and the whole crew up there. It was absolutely awesome. And I look forward to coming back as often as I possibly can. So for podcast number 98,
98.
stick around. We'll have an after show. Until then, we'll see you when you step inside the Smash Box. Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 98's after show. We've got Johnny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, hoping that the rest of the crew online knows that they're still here. We're still going at it. Some people said thanks and good night. Well, I'll say this. I'm not going to make it too long of a night. I've only had a few hours of sleep and came all the way in from Alaska today. So just thought we could chat on any other.
Sure. Trevor Hook brings up a good subject right away.
Trevor Hook, what do you got for us?
He's a longtime Smashy. We could start saying that now. Longtime Smashy.
Yeah. First time
First time caller, long time listener. Love the topic.
First time commenter, long time. Even though Trevor is a frequent commenter, we appreciate it.
Trevor asks, do you know what's up with the lack of FPO coverage at the last few tourneys? The Vibram only had 8 holes. The Beaver State Fling only 10 holes. I'll say the Vibram, actually, it had more than 8 holes. There was the summary that we did in the middle of each round, and they weren't true, full, commentated like that. It was a quick, just what it was, music behind it, summary of the rounds and how they went. But unfortunately, with the women, the way Steve has it set up, the women tee off bright and early. At least they did at Vibram. I don't know what the future plan is. And we're just not, I don't want to say we're not capable,
equipped?
But it would be very difficult for us to broadcast a morning round, turn around, make sure our equipment's charged, that we have all that quality stuff, and then cover the men in the afternoon. So what the plan is we, and I say the Pro Tour, sends out a video coverage of the women, records all the shots. They've got one camera following them. I don't know what's going to happen with it. This past Vibram event, they created a quick summary video, uploaded it to me, where I then would play it during the downtime. I don't know what our plan is for the Silver Cup, but we would love to have more women's coverage. We just literally don't have the manpower. We do what we can. Hopefully that footage finds the light of day, and we can kind of get something going, put it on the Disc Golf Girl or something.
Yeah, and that's a conversation that continues to happen. In fact, I was just talking to Zoe tonight about it, and I think we're going to see that as more coverage is filmed of the women, and if it's in a post-production situation, we could take that, and if it's not integrated, or even if it is integrated into the live broadcast, we could also take that and put that up as a separate video in a place like the Disc Golf Guy, the Disc Golf Girl, so on and so forth. There's some other avenues and outlets as to where it can be. I'll speak for myself as to the Beaver State Fling. We had made the conscious decision or assignment, in a sense, in working with the PDGA and a little bit with the event as to, the second card we were covering or the third card or whatever it was. And I know Central Coast had 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 different sets of crews out there, and they kind of have made their own determination as well as to where they're going to go and what they're going to film. Sometimes, rarely is it dictated as to where someone goes. So it can be a personal choice by that crew or by that film crew, or sometimes it could be sponsorship related. We noticed that Marty McFly, who obviously works in conjunction with Prodigy, frequently we see Prodigy women on the leader card at a lot of the events. So we see him often tied to that. It's I don't want to say it's the wild, wild west, but it's a little bit of semi-organized chaos out there as to where people are and what they're doing. So there's not really a good answer as to it. I know I try to get around as much as I possibly can. I know other crews try to do the same. And then one could always go back and argue, and I've had this conversation with the likes of Sarah Holcomb and lots of our players, female players. One could always argue about viewership. Where do you go? Where are the efforts put and what is the end goal. Because if you want and are expecting and you're doing this with the thought or the main outcome of getting as many viewers as possible, it's been pretty clearly stated that a women's round is almost always not going to get nearly as many views as a men's round, depending on who's playing. But just generally speaking, that's the case. And every editor and film crew have to interpret that differently as to what that really does or doesn't mean for them. So those are some of the thoughts. I wish I could say more to it, but that's kind of the down and dirty to it, in my opinion.
We do have a plan, hopefully, to cover women at Pro Worlds. So
Yeah,
our goal is
and even that sometimes is dictated by
schedule,
and
storyline,
and who you're working for.
Yeah.
Yep. What if someone, I'll just throw, I don't know. Let's say someone sponsored the disc golf guy, and company XYZ said, I would like to bring you to this huge A-tier tournament, but I'd like you to film the advanced leader card of men. If they're, so to speak, paying that bill, and I'm not saying this has ever happened, but if they did, obviously I would go cover the advanced men's card. So sometimes even things like sponsorships and those obligations can get factored in. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it.
Larry Puckett asked about whether it's legal to download our videos, create highlight videos.
Short answer is no.
Technically, no. Is
it legal?
Is it legal? Depends on. It all depends on the copyright of the video. If it's a Creative Commons video, depending on how you use it, there might need to be citations and stuff like that. For us, no, not really. If you wanted to reach out and work with us, we could probably do something. If you maybe host it on our site, or co-host it on your site, and whatever, or logos or whatever, we could maybe find some way to work with you. But he's talking about things like he always hears people say fair use and doing reaction videos. Yeah, reaction videos, I think technically may or may not fall under fair use, but I doubt it. It's a real gray area, reaction videos. And people say, oh, if you keep it under 6 seconds, or you keep it under 30 seconds, basically, if you're doing, I believe fair use works, if you're doing some sort of actual critique or something newsworthy with the video, then you can, for not profit, I think you can do it. But if you're monetizing that video, I don't believe you can. So just a word. But like I said, Larry, if you're interested in doing something like that, reach out to us. We could probably get you better quality footage of some of that stuff if you want to make highlight videos and things like that. So that's a good word, and that goes for everybody.
Well, and I think that's one of the challenges that we find with the live broadcasting is if you had access to the raw footage, it might be a little bit easier. But as we know, when we have signal issues or there's some kind of lag or something, and you're simply pulling it off of the feed that you already are seeing on Smashbox stream, it's not going to be any better when you download it yourself and have a local copy.
Yeah.
Versus if you had the raw stuff that was directly off of
cameras.
The actual cameras. So
Peter Beckwith asks, would you rather do what you did for the Vibram and go live, or wait and do a cut and edited version? What do you prefer? That's tough, because for me, that's tough to say, because I don't do edited coverage. I pretty much strictly do live. Now the Vibram, and I was telling somebody this today, the Vibram is really tough because there are sketchy spots on that course. And I'll say this, I love the tournament, I love the course. I don't love doing the coverage there, just because of the quality that we have to scale back to, the workarounds that we have to do. That's a course where I think post-round stuff really shines. I like the live because we do get those last 4 to 5 holes are real quality. There's no signal issue, and that's really where the meat and potatoes of the course happens, as far as things like that. But as far as recorded versus live, we've had this conversation 1,000 times, and it's all up the eye of the viewer. I don't find any interest in recorded coverage. Terry?
Yeah, it's that no-win situation of live is instant and comes at a lesser quality than recorded, which takes anywhere from a few hours to a day or two to get posted, and it comes at a much higher quality. I personally, I have personal pros and cons to it, because I say it all the time. I'm clearly more stressed just before we go live and while we're live, and then after we're live, then there's no pressure on me to do anything. Whereas it's the exact opposite when I'm doing recorded round coverage. I'm mildly to not really stressed during the round, but then I'm stressed out when it comes to getting all the footage
For the next 10 hours.
and then compiling it and rendering it and getting it uploaded. So it's a matter of me shifting my own stressors as to which, and when it's all said and done, there's a lot less that can go wrong in a post-produced round than what can go wrong in a live round. So yeah, and that's why I personally enjoy being able to dabble in both and work in both environments. I foresee myself doing that for a long time, but on any given weekend, it kind of comes down to what we're contracted, what I'm personally involved with and contracted for that given weekend.
Ronald Harkley says, it would be interesting to see some of the sponsors hire a camera crew to follow their players for post-production rounds, similar to what McFly does with Prodigy, men or women. Take a look at, and I mean, I guess it's not really the same. The Beaver State Fling and Masters Cup had wrap-up videos by CCDG, and they're okay videos. But I think they get the point across where they give highlights for particular players. Now, it would be interesting to see maybe a round with just one player. You could cut that down to probably 8 minutes for a particular one player going through the entire course. That could have some traction. I don't know necessarily.
Well,
monetary-wise,
I did that with a Wysocki video, but there wasn't any additional commentary. It was really. He had shot an unofficial 1100 rated round last year at the over at Green Mountain Championships. He shot an 1100 rated round, and I just broke down his 44, 49 throws, and that was just it. Just showed shot after shot of nothing but Ricky's throws, and then added a little counter for each one of his throws. I thought that was a really cool way to do it, to kind of highlight what was an extraordinary round.
Of course.
Now, would people want to do it if Ricky went out and shot a 10-20 rated round, and it was just, we'll say, a mediocre round by his standards, by everyone's standards in that sense, would it be as cool to still see an individual breakdown of that course or that hole, or I'm sorry, of that player? Maybe not.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Beats 1982 asks, what is your best memory of anything disc golf related? Oh, Jesus, Beats. I'm not reading his answer. He just basically says his first ace, but he gives a very strange equation with it. Yeah, that's tough because, I have so many disc golf memories. I think the best experience was probably my trip to Japan. That had, with Terry and our really good friend Johnny Rumble. That is experience in and of itself, going over there and, the nightlife in Tokyo, the night after, the whole trip, riding up to the resort, all that stuff. I think the best, I think almost a lot of players will say is their best individual single, anyone that hasn't won a world championship, like that one moment is your first ace. For mine, it's the whole Dretsko, hole 9, hitting hole 9 is it's a 250-foot shot. About that?
295.
All right. Hitting that, it's under a tree hit it with an X clone, a no fooling X clone. Or maybe, even though it's funny because I don't even remember it very well. I have one pro win under my belt, the dark side of the disc, where I beat, I think, 8 or 9 guys, 7, 8, 9 guys. You being one of them on your, what you and I deemed our, your our private bachelor party weekend where we went down to Chicago and partied. That was a lot of fun. But to be honest, I don't remember much about that round or even the award ceremony. It's all kind of a blur. So, that's tough. What about you? Do you have a particular disc golf memory that is more sacred than others?
It was off the course, but I think one of the coolest experiences I've ever had is almost 3 years old now, when I had gone and was brought to Norway. And one of the nights when we were in Norway, we had started a boat cruise. Well, it was a private, it wasn't really a cruise, but a private boat tour. And it was Avery Jenkins, Val Jenkins, Nate Dawson, myself. And we were on the boat for 5 hours going up and down some fjords in Norway. And it was, from literally midnight to 5 a.m., where it was still pretty much light throughout the entire trip, kind of like my Alaska experience this last weekend. And to me, that was just one of the most fun times I think I've ever had in a disc golf related situation, and something I just would never forget. It was a really unique experience.
Cool.
So we saw that Rad is sucking up, saying that his best disc golf moment was his first ever Smashbox TV podcast.
I hope that was number one.
Thanks.
Aw.
And people talk about their aces. Of course, I remember my first ace. I remember my second ace. And then from there, they get a little bit sketchy from there in terms of the specifics and whatnot. But there's been a lot of cool
Do you
moments.
remember your last ace?
It wasn't that long ago.
I don't remember the last ace I had. I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was at Valley View. That would make the most sense to me.
Yeah, I've only played a few rounds this year now.
I know.
And it was last year, and I don't recall the exact specifics of it, but
Isn't
it was sometime last year, and I remember thinking,
Yeah.
I have around 50-ish of them, and
Yeah, I think
when it's all said and done,
25 or 30 under my belt.
and it's certainly not what it used to mean to me. That's for sure.
No, I was thinking actually one of the most, I think, excited I've ever been related to disc golf was after the memorial broadcast we did where Germ won, because the way it went down, I felt it was kind of almost a flawless round we did.
Mm-hmm.
I remember finishing up like thinking like, okay, let's end this. I don't want an opportunity for mistake. And I thought it was a really good broadcast we did. I think I remember it being like, now that's how you do a broadcast. And that, to me, it strangely is really exciting when that happens, when there's almost no problems.
And was that moment so special because you're anti-Macbeth?
Yeah, that's clearly what it is. I mean, I've
And
said
you
it
always talk
before on the
trash about him?
podcast. He's washed up.
He's
He's too afraid to show up in Wisconsin.
Yes, of course, and that was an epic moment. Not only just capturing the playoff and the way that it went down, but as you said, the fact that when things go really right for us and technology more than ever cooperates, that's really the best feeling. And what always sucks about it is you can't control that. All you can do is hope for the best and put yourself in a position to. But, and I guess you could say we felt a little bit of the same over at Vibram. There's always the nerves of, we're watching this playoff and we want everybody at home to be tuned in and following along. But we also think, man, this would be the most epic and horrible time in the world for something to go down.
Yep.
And that's a realistic possibility. And we hate that we have that thought in the back of our heads, but it's there.
Everybody is always like, oh, playoff, that's awesome. It's the last thing I want.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I don't want to see a playoff ever for disc golf if I'm broadcasting, because all I think is, I know it. This is when it's going to fail.
Yeah.
This is when, because that is the ultimate kick to every viewer and us, is if imagine at Vibram, if after hole 18 something failed and we didn't get to see that epic, awesome finish. Like, that's all I get knots in my stomach thinking about when we're broadcasting, thinking about extra holes. I just want to be done. I want someone to win and be done. As great of viewership as it gives us, I just want it to be done.
I see out at the Iron Hill course, Jimmy Mack is talking about a few of the things from the weekend. It looks like he's posted a very lengthy post, as he said, addressing a few things from the weekend. So if you want to go out and learn more about the course or some of the comments I think that have come in, you could go out and do that as well. I'm just seeing that posted. And I'd like to again congratulate Josh Barnhill and the rest of the crew over at Red, White, and Boom. Sounds like you guys had an awesome event. I know he had at one point reached out and said, "Oh, I'd love to talk to you about coming to cover it." And I was like, "Sorry, I'm booked for Alaska." He's like, "Okay, I guess I get it." But congrats on what looked to be a very successful event from everything I could see on the social media aspect. So that's definitely pretty cool to see as well. And we see people like Big Germ making posts from overseas, having a good time, doing what he's doing.
No, I think I saw a very funny picture with them.
Yeah. So, I guess I was trying to think what else there was. I was thinking about the airlines earlier. I was saying I was a big fan of. I've now been not converted, but I was impressed by Delta this weekend. But there was something really specific that I wanted to address. And now I can't remember what it is. Except for there's this idiot on the plane today. I feel like if you're getting on the plane and your flight leaves at 5:25 a.m., there's likely not a single, I shouldn't say that. Less than 5% of the people getting onto a plane at 5:25 are really like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like ready to attack the day, especially when you have a 5-hour flight.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking, even when you went to bed, I'm going to get a little extra sleep.
Yep.
Not this man in this 55-year-old guy in a Spider-Man shirt. And I'm not talking like a Spider-Man T-shirt. I'm talking like a full-blown sub-dyed with collar Spider-Man shirt. I think it was probably expensive.
Wow. Unless he works for Marvel, I don't know.
No, he doesn't work. So him and his female companion, just felt it was necessary to talk at loud volumes about the most senseless and stupid things that no one cared about. And I always feel bad because I don't know where to draw the line as to when I should feel obligated to say, like, shut up, as opposed to someone else closer to him.
I mean...
Excuse me, sir.
You're
loud and stupid. Shut up.
Those aren't
Take
the
your
words.
Spidey shirt. All right. And I'm not picking on. I am picking on him a little bit. Take your Spidey shirt elsewhere.
I would say, sir, could you just keep it down a little bit back there? Your voice happens to carry. I would take the nice approach first. And then if he doesn't, be like, "Oh, come on, dude. Get your Spidey shirt and shove it in your mouth."
And I'm sorry I have to call him out and pick on him, but there's something odd about. I'm guessing he's 55. He was somewhere between 55 and 65. And you're wearing a full sub-dyed Spider-Man shirt. You don't think there's anything odd with that? You think that's totally that's cool. That's how you travel cross country.
I don't know.
Full sub-dyed Spider-Man shirt.
I don't know. Like I have a shirt. It's a T-shirt.
Okay. T-shirts.
But it says, with great power comes great responsibility.
Sure, got it.
I've got a Nintendo 64 shirt.
Okay.
My wife just bought me a new NASA shirt. I have a Legend of Zelda shirt. I'm almost 40. And these are things I grew up with.
So
maybe he grew up with Spider-Man.
Maybe he did.
But
is that at that point when you invest
I don't know.
$65 or $75 into a full sub-dyed Spider-Man
I find it
polo?
I find it very hard to judge.
Okay.
I mean, I understand it could be seen as awkward and weird, but I have a hard time making that judgment.
I guess
personally.
that's a side note, because really the moral was he wouldn't shut his face. I wish there was a Spidey sense for him shutting his face, because nobody wants to hear you talking loudly at 5:19 in the morning. When you have everybody has their eyes closed, people have their blankets wrapped up, all the shades are pulled. People want to move on with what is their morning. And maybe this guy works third shift and he's just in the middle of his day. Guess what? An entire 6 to 10 aisles or rows in the back of the plane don't need to hear it. You want to be doing what you do, I'm good with that. Just do it quieter.
No, I agreed. That's whatever he's wearing. I find a hard time judging that, but it's his lack of social etiquette at that time in the morning, and maybe he's a morning person. Maybe Maybe he's from a different
Take
time
a
zone.
social clue
Yep.
with the other 98%
Agreed.
of people around you
I
to
agree.
shut your face.
I agree.
So we'll move on though to something else that I did see thanks to the best entertainment in the air. Hashtag Delta Airlines. I watched Deadpool, which
Did ya?
I hadn't seen.
I have not seen. I was just saying today.
I should totally ruin it for you. I'm just kidding.
Whatever. It's we were just at Chill at the Hill, which is a big orchestra on the park here locally. Before I came here, and I was saying like, wow, because a friend of mine who is very similar to me, he's very heavily into the comic book movies. This was saying how he hasn't seen the new Captain America Civil War movie. I'm like, oh gosh, it's it's a great Avengers movie, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I've yet to see Ant-Man or Deadpool, and he's like, really, you haven't seen Deadpool? And I said, if there's one superhero movie you would like, it would be that one.
I found it mildly humorous.
Sure.
Is that what Ryan Reynolds?
It
Who
is.
that is? Yeah, it was humorous. I'd go as far as saying I enjoyed it. Now, as maybe I sound naive in asking because I don't have any spidey senses, but is that based on a comic book in itself?
Of course, yes.
Okay, neat.
and that's exactly how the comic book is. Very much breaking the fourth wall, vulgar, violent, over the top, like sarcastic. It's exactly how the comic is.
Okay.
So
I thought it was good. Kevin McCoy, we didn't mention earlier, I believe is celebrating a birthday sometime around now. So
Kevin's going to be in Madison tomorrow.
happy birthday, McCoy. I don't know. I'd love to have a Kevin McCoy Dana hair contest and see who's gets curlier and who's feels softer. Do you think that'd be weird?
That's like Spidey.
Should we do that at 5 a.m. on a plane?
and just announce it to everybody?
Anyway, so yeah, I watched Deadpool. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah, that's about all I can say about that. The rest of my time was
Come to the
primarily-
dark side.
No. As many can maybe pick up or realize.
you
I'm
might
not
like-
a big comic book.
No, you're not.
Superhero
Do you like-
action.
I was gonna say, do you like the Jason Bourne movies?
Surprisingly, I've never really gotten into them. Like I've
Okay.
never given them much of a chance.
Sure. I'm like, because I was thinking, if you were to like something like the Jason Bourne movies, I could see you kind of getting into Captain America, because it's more of it's less of a comic booky thing and more of like an action, spy kind of more. It's a little different. You would not like Spider-Man. You wouldn't, Batman you might like a little bit. It's more detective-y, dark. But I kind of feel like there's a comic movie for every person. I'm really curious to see what Doctor Strange brings, because it looks very psychedelic kind of thing. I don't know. But, yeah. Anyway, pretty soon, that's all that'll be in movie theaters are comic book movies, because they're the big tent poles. They're the only ones that can make money. And movie theaters are going to. I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of movie theaters go out of business. I think you're going to see,
because everyone's just going to have a stream service to
Yeah,
their house and be
you'll-
able to get full access to the
Yeah,
latest and greatest.
you'll probably pay like $50 or $75 for a movie, and it'll just be streamed to your house. And the only way you'll probably go to a movie theater is more for an experience, like dinner included, and to have
the
that
big recliner chairs
Yep,
now.
to have
and the
that
300
communal
speakers.
kind of big action movie or big tentpole movie. You won't go to a movie theater to see Good Will Hunting unless it's like an indie flick somewhere, and that's like your style. But I think they're just going to start to go away, because people, and for better or for worse, people don't want that environment. People don't want to have to worry about some idiot checking their cell phone, some idiot yelling at the screen, some idiot doing, something that's going to bother you during your experience. If there's a movie, like, again, I like seeing these comic book movies or Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. I like seeing them in the theater because they're cool, they're loud, it's action packed and filled. But if I want to see I'm trying to think of a movie like the newest Amy Schumer movie, I don't need to see that in the theater. Stream that to me at my house where I can sit and laugh in whatever. But those big action movies, there's something cool about seeing them with everybody else and cheering and whatnot, and going with your kid. It just wouldn't be the same now unless you got a bunch of your buddies together and went to your house. That's different. So we'll see. I think theaters are going to have to do a lot more to draw people in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, and I think we've seen a lot of the theaters move to this whole reclining, super soft, super comfortable reclining chairs or loungers or whatever they're calling, sofas, super loungers, whatever. And you're seeing even the prices go up with them, and maybe they feel like, obviously we've always seen movie prices increase, but if they feel like they're increasing and enhancing your experience, they can continue to charge you a premium. And I think we're going to see more of that moving forward. Like you said, people also ordering their food and their drinks right from their the comfort of their new long seat that they're relaxing in.
Yep. Let's see here once. Larry Puckett says, if anyone's seen footage of the moon's orbiting Saturn, the coolest footage I've ever seen in real sci-fi. I haven't yet. I know that our little satellite now has attained orbit. And for those of you that don't know, this is kind of a funny fact, and I think it was out on Facebook in a lot of places. I'm pretty sure all of Saturn's moons.
How many do they have?
I don't know, but they were all named after. No, I'm sorry, Jupiter, not Saturn. Jupiter. Back up. All of Jupiter's moons, because we just have a Jupiter thing. They're all named after Jupiter's mistresses, and the satellite that we just put in orbit is named after Saturn's wife. So, someone said it's a joke 400 years in the making, because all the planets were named after, mythological his mistresses, and so the scientists named the satellite that they're putting out there in orbit after his wife. So I thought that was really funny and clever. So NASA nerds, they get a kick.
Wow.
So Peter Beckwith says that he won't be able to buy a car in 5 years. Not 5 years. I think that's more 15. You'll still be able to buy cars, but they'll all be automatic. You won't be driving anymore. And I look forward to that day. I know Tesla just had their first fatality with automatic driving, but apparently the guy was watching Harry Potter. Like, the way the Teslas work. Did you
can't queue up Harry Potter?
No, he had like a DVD player sitting in his thing. So
and it's a fully automated car though.
It's called autopilot, but it warns you saying, "Hey, this is basically auto assist."
Okay, so not like the Google cars right now that can
Correct.
truly
What this
drive
does,
for hundreds of miles.
You can more or less let it drive. It takes highways and all this, but what happened was a white semi, because it was like a divided highway where semi, they can turn, apparently pulled in front and was blocking the road. And because it was a white semi against a bright blue background, the cameras, it didn't register it. And so I guess at a high speed, it hit right between the two wheels and took the top off the car, more or less. And had the guy been paying attention, he would have stopped. But instead, apparently, he had his hands on the wheel, because you have to have your hands on the wheel, because after so long, it starts beeping and slowing down to say, hey, you can't just not do anything, idiot. But he was apparently watching a TV show or a movie, the Harry Potter movie, on a DVD player, either in a seat or something, because when they went to him, they said they still heard the DVD player playing. So, I don't know. I think in 10 to 15 years, every car is just going to have like some sort of auto mode. We're going to go through a really rough period as far as insurance and liability and all that crazy stuff, but they're going to end up being safer than humans. And people will still drive. They'll do it for entertainment. They'll do it in whatever, but it's going to be a lot less. If my kid never has to drive a car, I would be ecstatic with that. Think of how dumb you were at 16. Should you really have been given, or 14, depending on when you got busted, should you really have been given a license, a car? It's kind of a rite of passage, but there's so many dumb people. And now with so many distractions, I'm looking forward to a day when I don't have to think about driving, or someone just picks me up on an automated car and I get on and go to wherever I'm going.
My new multi-million-dollar idea with 2 kids now, a 5-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old daughter, and I travel daily, weekly, whatever. There needs to be, and I'll share this with our Smashies, so take it and run with it if you want. I'd like to be part of it, though. There needs to be an Uber that is...
Uber for kids?
Yeah.
I think they already have...
Like, that needs to be...
There is, and you can look at it, I think it failed because there are so many...
nannies and other people that can run kids around?
No, there are issues with security.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It has to be up 5 to 10 to 20 more notches, rather than just Joe Schmo who just became an Uber driver.
Yes,
it would have to be an extra qualified by tenfold, as to who this person would be. But that's what I keep thinking, because I keep thinking, especially here, even in the summer months, like I have a daughter that's in a summer school program from 8 to 10 and another one that's from 8 to noon and all these other things. And I think I just need them to get like 5 or 10 minutes away to these different places,
Sure.
but they're not old enough to be able to walk or ride their bike or anything like that alone. I need a qualified, safe person that could potentially get them from one place to another. So
Yeah.
that's what I need.
Rad Jackson says he's got it. It's called pervy pickup.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if it says, like Larry Puck says, if you crash an auto drive car, can the victim sue the manufacturer? The person in the car was a passenger behind the wheel. Again, like that's the thing with these self-driving cars. They know exactly what you're doing. They know if you've pressed the gas or the brake or if your hands were on the wheel. They have everything short of a camera watching you. I mean, they can tell all that stuff. So they know if you weren't attentive driving. It'll come down to the point where eventually there will be a camera and it'll watch your eyes probably. Where are your eyes looking? We already do that with websites and stuff where people know if you go to these major sites like Google and Facebook, they know wherever your mouse is. No matter where you hover it, they register where your mouse clicks are. Even as far as a friend of mine works for Kohl's Corp and does some of their website, they know exactly where you're clicking, where you're looking, more or less where their mouse is moving so that they can optimize the websites. And I think your car is going to be like that because, I mean, think about it this way. Teslas have auto-driven 130 million miles. The average fatality is at 100 million miles with normal cars. So it's already 30% better, if you want to look at it that way, than the average car. Again, there's going to be all sorts of weird legal and liability issues that people are going to have to get through and get over. But I have a daughter who will never drive a car. I know that. She's special needs, and I would never. We had a 45-minute fight this morning over their shoes she was going to wear. I would love to be able to put her in a car and say, okay, go somewhere and feel safe and secure enough that it goes there, whether it's with it or without a driver. If it's going to be an interesting next, as you can say this probably every 10 years, it's going to be an interesting 10 to 15 years. 10 years ago, we didn't have smartphones.
Oh, those were the days.
At least not legitimate ones. Not like we have now.
No, certainly. I think almost exactly 10 years ago, I was working a Palm Trio. Some Blackberries were all the rage right around now. 2006. Blackberries were kind of leading the industry, in fact. And for me to get a Palm Trio was like a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Larry Puckett asks, if you're driving drunk, behind the auto drive, currently, you're still obligated to drive. You're still obligated to pay attention. Now, if there's a service like we'll just say one of the Google cars that comes and picks you up, and it's meant to drive, and you're drunk, then no. But as of now, of course, you're still obligated to drive. You're obligated to be able to control the car. Your cell phone knows where you are physically looking at it already. Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of capabilities for those as well, I've seen. I would like to also send another shout out.
I say that ends our tech podcast.
No,
for the day.
exactly. No, but what I'd like to do is to finish out on the tech line. Another call out for anybody that knows some PHP. If you know any PHP database stuff, I might have a question or two.
Still having problems?
No, I haven't had any chance to address previous problems.
Yeah.
So the problems that I was having a week ago, I'm still having today. So if anyone
it's not, and you restored the database.
I restored a database. I still have no idea what's going on. I'm guessing it's literally a single item in a database that's screwing something up, or a single line of code, or something of that nature. But when I attempt to do something on one of my sites, I get basically a 500 internal server error. And what I love about the 500 internal server errors,
doesn't really give you an error.
It basically tells you,
right.
Yeah, it could be one of a million things.
Correct.
Go F yourself.
Correct. Somebody reach out to Terry, help him out, but give me access to the back end of your site, and I can see if I can
access.
Yes,
Microsoft access.
Yes, give me Microsoft access, maybe with some PowerPoint, and I'll see if I can quickly at least get it so people can log in.
I've had some smart people not get me that far yet, but I'll give you a chance.
Have they tried? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll give you a chance.
if there's smart people out there doing it, I would literally just be
I think
looking
these
at
people were smarter than you in these regards.
it. Okay, if that's the case,
So you're useless to me.
I very well could be. But give me a shot.
I would like everyone to know again, here in our after show, we'd love to see as many people as possible. We've lined up and secured for sure Paige Pierce and Madison Walker for next week's live podcast brought to you from the, I don't know the name of the hotel, but from the host hotel at the Am Worlds in Madison, Wisconsin. They're going to have, I believe, seating up to 400 people. We'd love for as many people to join us in the actual hotel conference center as possible. Of course, you're going to still be able to watch us online, watch us live, download it, listen and all that stuff later. But if you are going to be in Madison for the Am Worlds, please come on down by the Am Worlds host hotel, and we'd love to have you guys join us live. Maybe we should have some giveaways. Maybe I'll do something like that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Some kind of giveaways or free stuff.
Manny at Vibram, and he came up to me at the very end and was like, "Dude, if you ever need giveaways, contact me. Like any week, every week." He's like, "I just want to get my name out there."
Okay.
So we need to reach out to him, and he's always got something fun going on. So Peter keeps harping on the GBO coverage of the broadcast teams. There was no. Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, we technically recorded.
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say there was no technical. Yeah, but there was. He did record.
Matt, thank you, Matt. He actually did record the round. But that's buried somewhere now at some point.
You have it.
I have it
It's
somewhere,
just a matter of
I think
finding some time someday to do that.
Yeah. So right now, just to line everyone up in queue in the Terry Miller
Sit
queue.
back.
Just off the top of my head, things that I can think of that I need to get addressed in one way or another. Mad City Open Final 9 take place at the Mad City A-tier here in Wisconsin. That was a few weeks ago. I do have some more Vibram footage that can be released that I'm not even working on, but my channel is going to continue to bring you some more Vibram edited round coverage, and then of course the Alaska King of the Hill coverage. So those are the three things. Oh, and in like a day we start the next Pro Tour stop, and then that's not even done, and then we move into Am Worlds. So simmer down.
And I'll say this: Mad City, somebody else already has it out there.
Yeah, but
so
I'll get a better version.
You'll get a much better version out of yours. But I'm saying that it doesn't have to be a priority. You can kind of bump that down in the queue.
I'll put it right behind 2015's Mad City Open coverage.
Crown Plaza in Madison is the host hotel.
Thank you, Ronald. Crown Plaza. All right, Rad wants to know, how much would it cost me to be able to ramble on for an hour on the Silver Cup show about my unsanctioned tournament in a month? That cost you big time.
For an hour? So you want like a fifth of our show?
Plus you'd have to pay me to come film it. Maybe not. We could maybe make something happen.
Rad, send us a message on Facebook or something about your event. We can maybe rattle something off next week or something, and we could maybe get you on a regular show, after show. It wouldn't be an hour, but we could maybe something.
It's got to be pretty awesome too, because
yeah,
if
it can't just be a local C tier.
Yeah, if you're going to an unsanctioned event at this random course in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, tell us why it's so great.
And you have no superstars of any kind playing, and there's nothing unique about it, we're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to be blunt with you. We're probably not going to talk about it.
Message us about why it's great, why we should talk about it. Message us privately on Facebook or something, and Terry and I will have one of our deep discussions, and we'll see if it's worthwhile.
Oh, so they say it might be a joke. Well, I think the jokes are up because it's almost midnight here in Wisconsin, and we've had a typical after show with not a lot of real quality or content.
Peter says every 6 months a special smashy guest on the show. That'd be kind of cool. Well, when we first started the podcast, my original thought was I think we could be cool to do a Patreon and have something like that as a
reward.
A reward. So at some point we do we bring someone in an after show and chat with them, or we have. Originally, I was thinking we have a special show just for Smashies, but that's kind of what our after show has become, like a Q&A. We talk about, hey, this and that, but we could still do something private like that if we were to ever go that route. But
your private dancer? Is that Tina Turner?
That is Tina Turner.
All right, on that note, it is the stroke of midnight. So for Johnny V and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, that's been podcast 98's after show ramblings. We'll see you guys for the Silver Cup this weekend, and we look forward to seeing you at the Worlds next weekend. Thank you. Good night, and step inside the Smash Box, because that's how I always end it.